1 week into the Cape League season, and the Harbor Hawks are home at McKeon for the fourth time this summer. And the third time in 2 days, they're set to take on the Eastern Division Brewster Whitecaps, this time for an evening showdown in just one matchup. Brewster yesterday out at Stony Brook Field against the Harbor Hawks took both of the double dip as Brewster has moved to 500 on the season. Those final scores yesterday, 11-5 in game 1 and 12-4 in game 2. Now, Hyannis, on the other hand, still in search of their first win of the Cape League season, and they look to join the rest of the Cape League inside the win tally. And to do so, they'll turn to the right-hander Sam Thoresen today, set to make his first start of the summer for the Harbor Hawks. The right-hander out of the University of Minnesota will oppose the Brewster starter Cam Tringali out of the University of South Carolina. It's the Harbor Hawks and the Whitecaps here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And with that, we'll welcome you inside the broadcast. Lyle Goldstein, Brendan Howe here with you, live from McKeon Park, just under 10 minutes from first pitch. And Brendan, just to give a quick recap of yesterday, we gave the two scores. Now, a couple of, you could call them heavy losses for the Harbor Hawks, but when you look at the stat sheet, these guys were hitting the ball. It wasn't a lack of offenses. They out-hit the Whitecaps in both games. It was simply just a matter of fact of one, not capitalizing as many times as they could have with runners on base, as well as the pitching sometimes lacking at times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Lyle. And the real thing that I think it came down to was the amount of free passes the Brewster Whitecaps were able to mount up. And I think, the ball was flying all over the yard yesterday. We saw it. You mentioned the Harbor Hawks out hitting the Whitecaps yesterday. So I think that in order for that trend to continue tonight, I think just the Harbor Hawk bullpen is going to have to limit the amount of free passes that are given out, and they should be all right.
Now, you talk about the offense, Brendan, and it started to come together over the last couple of games or so. And one bright spot of that, no doubt about it, has been the Memphis designated hitter Hunter Goodman, as he sits second in the Cape in home runs with 2. He had 1 in Falmouth and 1 yesterday in Brewster. And for a guy that came in with expectations that were pretty much clear blank, people were waiting to see what they could get out of the Memphis right-handed hitter. He surpassed them through the first week of the season.
Yeah, 2 home runs in as many games, Lyle, as you just mentioned. And he's been seeing the ball extremely well, getting a couple fastballs he can handle and turned on him and ripped him out of the ballpark. And that's what's going to open these scouts' eyes here tonight. There's a lot of them in attendance. We saw him down on the field in batting practice just about an hour and a half ago, putting on an absolute clinic. He launched a couple home runs just a couple hours ago as well. So keeping that bat hot is going to be crucial for the Harbor Hawks to get back on track on offense.
Let's actually stick on that for a second, because you make a good point. I mean, Hunter Goodman earlier in batting practice. Now, look, a lot of these guys have power. He's not the only one putting the ball out of the yard, but he's doing it in the loudest way. I mean, to picture McKeon Park for you, there are lines and lines of trees just sitting right behind the confines of the ball field. And Hunter Goodman, he had a couple balls that were pretty much out of sight. I mean, we saw a couple fly into the top of the trees and some of the highest ones on the left field side of McKeon Park, but there were a couple that straight up, like we talked about, I mean, you lost sight of him. So Goodman, there's no doubt he's got the power tools. We've seen it translate to the game a little bit with a couple of homers. But, of course, batting practice is a little bit tampered, as it doesn't always translate to the field. For Hunter, it has through the first week of the season. But yet you can't help but stop and watch, right?
No, he's putting on an absolute show, and it's fun to watch. And you kind of just sit there and marvel at it, like, oh man, like that was an absolute shot that he just hit off the bat. The 394 marker out to dead center field, and there's a couple of light posts in left center. He hit one well into the third row of trees back there. Like you said, you just lose sight of it.
Now to go from the offensive side of the ball to the mound, where the Harbor Hawks will turn to the right-hander Sam Thoresen out of Minnesota for his second appearance of the summer, his first start of the summer. Now, Brendan, he threw just 1 inning against Cotuit back on June the 12th, 5 days ago. For today, making the start, so a little bit of a different scenario for the righty. What's going to be his key to success this evening?
Well, we talked about a little bit about it earlier on in the pregame show. Free passes. There were a lot of walks, 9 in the second game alone yesterday against Brewster, and a few hit by pitches as well. So I think that keeping that fastball in command is going to be a big key for him, as well as limiting the walks in his outing to see how deep he can go in his second appearance.
Well, Thoresen will take the mound on the other side of the break. First pitch set for 6 p.m. We'll have that for you, lineups and much more when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. As Sam Thorson, the right-hander standing at 6'3", 210 pounds out of the University of Minnesota, gets loose on the mound with the defense behind him. We're just moments away from first pitch here at McKeon Park. Fourth home game of the summer for the hometown Harbor Hawks as they're set to take on the Whitecaps for the third time in 2 days. Throw down from the catcher Chad McDaniel to the shortstop Lofton, and we're just about to get set. The Whitecaps lineup this evening will go as follows. Colin Davis leads off, the Wofford center fielder, followed by Brett Auerbach in left, Tyler Gentry in right, TJ Collette doing the cleanup duties playing first base, followed by the switch-hitting Gage Workman at short. Marcus Castanon in the sixth spot playing third, Justin Vogt doing the catching, Eric Fago doing the designated hitting out of Stetson, and rounding out the nine, Wright State second baseman Damon Dews. Ball's put in play by the home plate umpire Tom Carey as Thorson sets fires. First pitch out of the windup, a called strike. So 6 o'clock first pitch time here at McKeon. A beautiful sunny day with scattered clouds throughout the sky. Very, very little wind, if any at all. 67 degrees here in Hyannis. From the first base side of the rubber, Thorson fires home, fouled back by the hitter Davis.
You can already see the Hyannis Harbor Hawks sniffing out some of these tendencies from the Brewster Whitecaps. Jared DeSantolo, the third baseman tonight for Hyannis, playing up on the grass, expecting Davis to perhaps drop down a bunt.
So DeSantolo was up like Brendan mentioned. But now with 2 strikes, he moves back just a bit. Right-hander gets the sign and comes home. Curveball ripped down the left field line, past the diving backhand of DeSantolo into left field. Davis around the bag at first. He's thinking two. Throw in from Hover. Straight away to the second baseman, Servideo, but sliding in safely, Davis with a leadoff double.
Well, that's just a hard piece of contact right there from the leadoff man, Davis. As he hands his shin guard off to the first base coach, gets a fist bump there, but DeSantolo moves back, as he mentioned, with 2 strikes in that at-bat. Just a rip down the left field line. Not really much of a chance for DeSantolo, with valiant effort, though, on the dive.
So now there's 1 on, nobody out. And that brings up the hitter, Brett Auerbach, out of the University of Alabama. First pitch from Thorson, and it misses down. Auerbach coming off a 2-for-2 performance yesterday. That came in game 2 of the doubleheader. He was later substituted for Ciaran DeVeni, but 2-for-2 with a walk and a couple of RBIs as well. And just like that, another opportunity presented in front of him. Thorson out of the stretch comes home. That's a fastball up. 2 balls, no strikes the count. Thorson looks back at the runner at second as well as his shortstop Lofton. The hitter Auerbach pinwheels the bat around the zone, then at the mound once, and now he's into his stance. Now the delivery, fastball at the top of the zone, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Thorson, a 3-pitch guy in his repertoire. Low to mid-90s fastball, also likes to mix in a changeup and a curveball. He gets the sign from the catcher, McDaniel. Now comes home. He squares the bunt, pops it up at the mound, coming in to make the play, Thorson on the fly. Retreating back to second, the runner Davis, and there's 1 down. So an unsuccessful bunt from Brett Auerbach, who dropped the wood out in front of the plate, just pushed it a bit too high. It was an easy pop-up for the pitcher, Thorson, to come off the mound and make the grab.
That's a lot tougher play than it looks there, Lyle. A pop-up there off the bunt as Thorson was just coming down through the windup before him having to scamper off the mound to make that play as Davis retreats to the bag at second.
Now it brings up Tyler Gentry. Still 1 on. Thorson giving a long look at Davis over at first. He'll drop in a curveball that misses high. The Hyannis defense tonight, left to right in the outfield, Trevor Hover, Mitch McIntyre, Rigsby Mosley. Same way around the infield, Jared DeSantolo, Nick Lofton, Anthony Servideo, making his first start. Just got here today from Ole Miss University. And then Brooks Carlson at first. Delivery from Thorson. It's up high with a curveball. 2-0 to the number 3 hitter, Gentry. He was hitless in game 2 yesterday, but he made a heck of a catch on Trevor Hover in the first game of the double dip. Trevor blasted one out to right. It took Gentry all the way back to the track. He had to make a leaping grab at the last second, but he robbed him of extra bases. He wiggles the bat just above his shoulder. Davis still a big lead at second. Another curveball, and upstairs again. So Thorson gives a look to second base. He comes off a season throwing 46 and a third innings for Minnesota. Went 4-3 with an ERA just over 4. Or make that 5.24 to be exact. 3-0. Fastball right down central. He had 5 scoreless appearances of his 15 tries in 2019, although his season was cut a little bit short due to injury. He comes set, peeks at the runner, still from the first base side of the mound, and he'll step off. Davis giving him a whole lot of trouble over there, as he gave him about 4 or 5 peeks before finally stepping off to reset. And Colin Davis, there's no doubt he has speed. He had a stolen bag in Game 2 yesterday. He had a stolen bag in Game 1. And he scored 5 different times in the doubleheader. Now he takes off for third. It's a hit and run, but popped foul out of play. So Thorson, pretty sizable figure up on the mound. Maybe not as tall and lengthy as some of the other Hyannis right-handers, but that doesn't say much considering Ben Abram, 6'7", Holt Jones, 6'8", Tyler Madison, 6'4". So Thorson, just another guy that's a part of this lengthy Hyannis pitching staff. Runner takes off again. It's a hit and run, fly ball into left field. Coming in Hauver, he's under it to make the grab. Quickly throws back to second. Davis retreating, and it's in time. Trevor Hauver with a strikeout of left field to the second baseman Servideo to double off Colin Davis. Davis was about a step around third, tried to sprint back to the bag, but couldn't do so in time. So a 7-4 double play to end the top of the first gets Thorson out of a mini jam. We'll go to the bottom of the frame when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's the University of South Carolina right-handed pitcher Cam Tringali who steps onto the mound as he makes his second appearance of the summer for the Brewster Whitecaps, much like Thorson doing for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. As the righties set to face a Hyannis lineup that features Mitch McIntyre at the top, followed by Nick Lofton, Trevor Hauver, and Hunter Goodman in the 4 spot. The right-hander works directly out of the stretch in the third base side of the rubber. Kicks and deals. First pitch fastball on the outer edge for strike one. DeSantolo hitting 5th out of FAU. Brooks Carlson hitting 6th. Servideo getting his first start and first appearance of the summer hitting 7th. Rigsby Mosley in the 8th spot. And Chad McDaniel rounding out the 9. The left-handed hitting McIntyre stares down the righty Tringali, who spikes a fastball in the dirt. So Thorson ended up facing the minimum in the top of the first frame. After that leadoff double to Colin Davis, he induced the Brett Auerbach bunt pop-up and then the double play from 7-4. Pitch to McIntyre, that's down in the dirt. He'll be 2-1. So we've seen a fastball changeup combination so far from Cam Tringali in the first at bat. Mitch McIntyre coming off what was a one-hit game yesterday in game 2. Looks to add on to that. Swings and taps one foul right side. So Tringali talked about while he was at school, he looks to improve his fastball velocity in his time at college. He thought it was good in high school, but feels like it could be better. 2-2. Popped up and it hooks foul out of play behind home plate. So 2-2 the count. McIntyre takes a second out of the box. He flips the bat out at the mound once and back into the stretch. Sets belt high is Tringali. He fires home and McIntyre sends one sky high and it hooks out of play again. On the season, Tringali appeared in 23 games, made 8 starts, 2-4 record with an ERA right at 5 exactly. 20 walks to 59 strikeouts in 66 2/3 innings of work. The BYU Cougar McIntyre looking to get the Harbor Hawks on the base paths. He pops one on the infield left side. Gage Workman calling everybody off and makes a backhanded catch on the fly, moving to his right.
McIntyre jammed a bit on that one as he just lofts one in the short air to the left side of the infield as Workman coming in a few steps. Calling off Castanon and making the play. That'll bring up Lofton.
So Lofton, the hitter. Baylor shortstop from the right side of the box. And now the pitch from the righty Tringali. Runs a fastball away and into the left side of the batter's box. It's 1-0. Lofton got here earlier this week and has been slated into the lineup ever since. He checks his swing, appeal down to first base, and Mike Rabideau, the umpire, says he goes around. 1 for 4 day yesterday for Nick. As the lengthy Cam Tringali stares him down, gets set and fires home, swing and a miss. Lofton coming into today hitting .222 through the first week of college of his summer season after a college year at Baylor, where he put up a 320 or above 320 average. He fouls one straight back. The count's 1-2 with 1 down. To be exact on Lofton, 323 average, 27 extra base hits, a 380 on base percentage. So he was an absolute stalwart for the Baylor Bears at the top of the lineup. 1-2 offering from Tringali. In the dirt, gets away from the catcher Vogt, but nobody on base. So Lofton paired with an infield of himself as well as Davis Wenzel, a former Harbor Hawk who was drafted in the first round by the Texas Rangers. And Davis hit above 350 for the season. So how about the offensive production out of the Baylor infield in 2019? Lofton here pops one away just behind the netting behind home plate. Lofton led Baylor in total bases, as well as runs scored, and was tied for first in extra base hits with those 27. Here on the Cape, looking to pick up a few of those extra base hits. He had a double in game 1 against Falmouth. And now the 2-2. Fouled back again. He throws the bat back toward the dugout and it hits off the brick wall. So Trevor Hopper just staring him down a little bit, who sits on deck. As Lofton makes his way back toward the Hyannis dugout on the third base side as he's going to go grab a new piece of lumber. And Brendan, I guess that just adds to the narrative we've been talking about all season, or the first week of the summer rather, about how many of these wood bat mishaps we've seen already.
Yeah, it's the second time this week that we've seen the bat go flying here at McKeon Park, and thankfully Trevor Hopper able to elude that one. But now in conversation with Hunter Goodman over in the on deck areas, he applies some pine tar to his bat.
So Lofton now, same color, same style of bat as he takes it back toward the plate where he sits with a 2-2 count. One down, nobody on base. He's got 4 hits so far this summer. 1 RBI. And the infield's playing him back here with nobody on. Now Tringali takes a breath and fires home. It's a fastball down and away, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Tringali trying to anchor a Brewster team that's now won 3 straight games, including that sweep of the doubleheader yesterday against Hyannis at Stony Brook Field. 3-2 to Lofton. Fastball on the inside corner, strike 3. Lofton took a couple steps toward first base, but home plate umpire Tom Carey rings him up on a looking strikeout. And there's 2 down in the top of the first.
Tough one to take, a big fastball that time from Tringali. The inner half of the plate is Lofton obviously not expecting to be rung up there. He was headed down toward first base looking for the walk.
So now it's Trevor Hopper, the Sun Devil, who digs in from the left side. Tringali comes set, and he'll deliver. Trevor pops it foul out of play on the first pitch over by the grandstands on the left side. The Brewster defense tonight, left to right in the outfield. Auerbach, Colin Davis, and Gentry from left to right in the outfield. Same way in the infield. Castanon, Workman, Dews, and Collette with Vogt behind the plate. And one more time, Cam Tringali on the rubber. He runs a fastball way outside to Hopper to level the count. Now, Trevor comes off a 3-hit day yesterday. He, much like Lofton, wasn't here on opening night, but just about 2 days into the start of the season showed up in Hyannis and since been inserted into the lineup every game. 1-1 misses outside. That's a changeup that he couldn't get the movement on. And Hopper, who adjusts one batting glove outside the box, has a 2-1 count. So he really helped himself average-wise yesterday. Those 3 hits put him up at 267 entering today's play. Fastball misses outside. No home runs yet for Trevor, despite the 13 that he hit at Arizona State. 1 RBI. And he was spraying the ball all over the yard in game 1. He just couldn't quite find a hit in that first game over in Brewster yesterday. That game, too, he put it in the rearview mirror with the snap of his fingers. 3-1 offering. It's up high, ball 4. Hopper draws a 5-pitch walk with 2 outs to put a man aboard, and it'll bring up cleanup hitter Hunter Goodman.
Well, Hopper seems like he's been an on-base machine for the Harbor Hawks since arriving midweek last week. You mentioned the 3 hits that he had in game 2 yesterday in Brewster, and now in his first plate appearance tonight, getting aboard with a walk.
So now it's Hunter Goodman. Cleanup hitter out of Memphis as Hopper gets his lead at first. Continuing to work out of the stretch, of course, is Tringali. He fires home. Goodman swings away and comes up empty. Tringali actually spent most of his season, at least the first half of it rather, on the bullpen side for the USC Gamecocks, but eventually was transferred into the starter role as he deals to Goodman. He checks his swing. It's a breaking ball away. It's 1-1. His first 13 appearances, he had a sub-2 ERA. But once he went into that starting role, he had more of an up and down go of it at times. So as a result, He finished right at 5, so to be determined whether he fits long-term more as a bullpen piece or as a starter, but he's on the mound to start the game today as Hunter Goodman swings underneath a fastball, and it's 1-2. Tringali got the start on opening night against Wareham. That was a 3-1 loss at Spillane Field. He went 4 innings in that outing, 2 earned runs on 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, so missing a lot of bats, but also goes along with 3 walks. He comes set right at the belt, rocks and fires. Goodman pushed off the plate a little bit with an inside fastball, and it'll be deuces wild. 2-2 with 2 outs. The middle infielder's playing a little toward the bag at second, Workman to his left, and the second baseman Dews to his right. Goodman, a little bit of an open stance. Left foot just behind the right at the back of the box. Hauver takes off with the pitch, and Goodman pops it out of play. So Goodman, who no doubt can hunt the fastball, and he's done it twice as successfully as you possibly can through the first week of the summer, with those 2 long balls, one that he had in Falmouth, one that he had yesterday in Brewster. Well, we'll see what Tringali opts to give him here with a 2-2 count. Here it comes. Breaking ball hits him right on the front shoulder. So Hunter Goodman with a 2-out free pass. Hauver moves down to second. Goodman over to first, and it'll bring up Jared DeSantolo with 2 on.
Well, this is a bit of shades of what we saw yesterday in Brewster from the Hyannis pitching staff. A couple quick outs in the inning and then some free passes, which led to a few base hits.
So DeSantolo, the left-handed hitting third baseman, taking his time getting into the box as he adjusts his batting gloves a couple of times, really tightening up that Velcro. Jared just continues to hit. He had 1 base knock yesterday in game 2, but he sits second in the Cape League in average right now at .417. And the pitch in. Fastball in the dirt, backhanded by Justin Vogt, the catcher. He'll now call time. He wants to have a word with Tringali on the mound. Meanwhile, for DeSantolo, 5 for 12 so far on the year. But as we've talked about, Brendan, his on-base percentage, even sky higher than that, as he's walked at a very high rate through the first week of the summer as well.
Yeah, DeSantolo drawing 5 walks up to this point, and already 1 free pass issued in the inning, and then the hit by pitch to Goodman, who stands at first.
So 2 on, Workman shading in toward his teammate Hauver, and now the pitch from Tringali, that misses just outside. So the middle infielder is still shaded toward the second base bag. Damon Dews playing right on the lip of the infield on the grass. But the corner's pretty much straight up. Collette behind the runner at first, that's Goodman. And the pitch, 2-0 fastball right on the outer black for strike 1. So DeSantolo seeing another right-handed arm. Like we've talked about a couple times, he saw a lot of in his time at Florida Atlantic in 2019. And that's where he put together that .298 average. Tringali's 2-1. That's a fastball just away, and DeSantolo's way ahead of the count.
And that's how you know when you're seeing the ball well. That's a tough pitch to lay off, a fastball in the outside corner. When you're hitting the ball this well, 5 for 12, as you mentioned, DeSantolo is on the season, and you see that, it's easy to poke that the other way.
And he's done some really nice opposite field hitting so far through the first week as well. So we'll see what he has in store in this remaining at bat. He's got 2 on. We already know he walks a lot. And now Tringali comes home. A big hack and a miss from DeSantolo. And now the count's full.
And another fastball from Tringali. He was trying to shoot the gap on that one. That was a hardy cut.
So Hyannis looking to strike first for the second time in as many games with the Whitecaps. They did so yesterday, putting up 2 in the top of the first, but couldn't end up holding the lead as they would drop the contest 12-4. Now Jared has the bat just above his left shoulder. Runners take off with the pitch. Here it comes, and it's just away, ball 4. 3 straight free passes issued by the right-hander Tringali as DeSantelo's aboard at first, and now the bases are loaded for first baseman Brooks Carlson.
Yeah, again, the walk starting to pile up for Jared down at first base. Make that 6 on the year as a meeting on the mound for the right-hander Tringali with Brooks Carlson about to dig in with 2 down.
And now the Brewster pitching coach comes out to the mound to have a word with Cam Tringali. So he walked 3 in his first outing back a week ago on Monday night against the Wareham Gatemen, that being on June 10th out at Spillane Field. He's already got 3 free passes issued here in the bottom of the first. 2 via the walk, and then, of course, the hit by pitch to Goodman. And it's funny, Goodman didn't have that many walks in his season at Memphis. As a freshman, he had just 9 compared to the 55 strikeouts. However, for Hauver, we alluded to yesterday how much he walked early in the season, as he was top 20 in the country through about the first 2 weeks. But DeSantelo, another guy who evidently has already walked a lot here on Cape Cod. Now time is off. Play back in, and Carlson fouls off the first pitch out of play. So to stick on the trend of walks, Brooks drew 30 in his sophomore year at Samford. So he got on base at a pretty high rate. I mean, he already hit 345. He already had 78 hits on the season, which led Samford and was tied for 3rd in the Southern Conference. But he can walk a little bit as well. 0-1, ripped over to the left side. Diving snag by Workman, moving to his right. How about that? That saves a couple of runs. Gage Workman, quick reflexes, moving to his right, snags it right out of the air, full extension over to his right, and it ends things in the bottom of the first. So 3 stranded after 3 2-out free passes from Hauver, Goodman, and DeSantelo. But the righty Tringali given a little bit of help by the Arizona State Sun Devil Workman. So 1-0 the score, or rather 0-0 the score. Both teams still in search of their first run through an inning of play, and we'll be back for the top of the second when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's TJ Collette, the Kentucky corner infielder, who digs into the left side of the box for the top of the second inning to begin. The righty Thorson ready to go, and he fires the first pitch. It's a curveball in the dirt. Well, Collette certainly made his presence felt yesterday. He had a hit and a run scored along with 2 RBIs in Game 2. But more potently, in Game 1, that absolute 3-run blast the opposite way. This time goes the other way again. Shoots one into left field, falling well in front of Hauver. That's a base knock. Collette takes about a step around the bag at first. That's all he's going to muster up. But the leadoff man's aboard for the Whitecaps in the top of the second. And now that tosses things over to the man who just robbed the Harbor Hawks of a couple of runs, Gage Workman.
Yeah, Collette picking right up where he left off yesterday after a 3-for-7 performance all told in the doubleheader on Father's Day yesterday. Aboard at first yet again, this time at McKeon Park.
So Workman, the switch hitter, wiggling the bat from the left side of the box. First pitch from Thorson. He puts it in the dirt on a breaking ball. McDaniel smothers it, so no advancement from Collette. But to go back to TJ for a minute, Brendan just touched on it. He was 3 for 7 in the doubleheader yesterday. But his presence was a lot heavier than just those 3 hits. Going back to game 1, that absolute missile of a 3-run blast that he put the opposite way at Stony Brook Field. Thorson out of the stretch, he checks the runner, now steps off. But to go back to that game 1, Brewster put up at least 1 run in all but 1 inning. That was the bottom of the 6th. But Collette kind of put it away with that 3-run bomb. As another curveball from Thorson hits the bottom of the zone, it's 1-1. So Brewster had 6 runs through the first 3 innings. Hyannis made it 6-3 in the top of the 4th in game 1. But that Collette 3-run blast really just kind of put a damper on things for the Harbor Hawks' momentum, because it seemed like they were kind of crawling back a little bit, but that long ball just kind of tampered things a bit as Workman fouls one away to the right side. So Collette the man at first, Workman the hitter. Gage yesterday was 0 for 3 in game 2, but had that triple in game 1 to kind of set the tone for the Whitecaps. Thorson from the first base side peeks his head down a little bit. Now a hard pickoff over to first, but Collette back standing up.
And Lyle, just to touch upon your point about yesterday for just a minute, it's not like the Harbor Hawks weren't scoring runs, because they were. They out-hit Brewster in both games. But Brewster matched them swing for swing, if you will, and really just put on an offensive showdown.
So now it's 1-2. Brooks Carlson, the first baseman, holding on the runner Collette. He's got a really short lead. 1-2 to Workman. Breaking ball that doesn't quite break enough, and the count will level. But yeah, Brendan, it's like you mentioned. I mean, the Harbor Hawks scored 9 runs through 2 games. That's not to frown upon. I mean, the offense was going, especially when you look at the fact that they had 21 hits in the 2 games combined. It's just when you're Brewster and you put up 23 total runs, it's hard to counter with that. Thorson's ready, fires the 2-2, breaking ball that Workman fouls away, up and out of play.
And like you said, those 23 runs combined between the 2 games for the Whitecaps, and now it's on the pitching staff for the Harbor Hawks to come back today and put that behind them. And it really starts with Thorson on the mound, who's been good through just an inning so far, inning plus. Really got to set the tone now against Workman.
So far, he's got a 2-strike count on him. It's 2-2 with a man on. 0-0 the score in the top of the 2nd inning. And the pitch. Workman checks his swing a bit at a fastball high. He appeals down to third base, but the umpire says he does not go around. That's Ryan DeMar, who stands more towards second base with a runner on first. So with a 3-umpire system here in the Cape Cod League, there's only so much that a field umpire can see, although Workman didn't go around on that one. But just to put it into perspective a little bit, it can toughen things up a little bit for the boys in blue. Thorson gives a soft pickoff move over to first, but collects back safely with no problem. Workman stepped out of the box for a minute. Now he digs back in. A black-headed wood bat that rests just behind his neck. And the pitch, big hack and a miss in the dirt. Workman jogs back to the dugout as first base was occupied. So now there's 1 away in the top of the 2nd. Thorson has his 2nd strikeout, or rather, that's his 1st. And now it brings up Marcus Castanon. I guess that's a little bit of a mouthful, who made his debut yesterday. And now getting the start again this time. He's over at 3rd this evening. So Castanon, the UCSB infielder, is set to face the right-hander Thorson, who fires a fastball way outside. On the season, he's 1 for 3. Of course, the season being just the 2 games he played yesterday. But 3 walks to his name in those 2 contests. And Brennan, he wasn't exactly given a friendly greeting yesterday, because in his first at-bat, or in fact more than that, the first pitch he saw, Joe Quintal hit him right on the hand, and it looked like he was really wincing in pain, but lucky enough for the hitter Castanon, he shook it off okay. Thorson's ready, the 1-1. Breaking ball misses high.
And that's definitely a tough way to start your summer, Lyle. You mentioned getting plunked right on the hand, and sometimes that'll leave a big bruise, and perhaps even worse, sometimes broken bones in that hand. But fortunately for Castanon, he's lucky to be standing in that right-handed batter's box right now, trying to do some damage for the Whitecaps.
So Castanon has himself with a 2-0 count. Now here comes a breaking ball again. This is a called strike. However, for Castanon, his season was all but lucky at UCSB. In fact, I wouldn't really call it much luck, just a bunch of hard work as he hit .333 on the season, 23 for 69 with a pair of home runs. As Thorson steps off the mound. So, of course, hard work is what goes along with all these players who make it out here in the Cape Cod League. And it clearly paid off for Castanon, the infielder from UCSB. However, we say all but luck, but that season was cut short as well in 2019 as he nubs one foul up the first baseline, and it's into the grass out and no play on it. Collette will move back to first base, and it's 2-2 the count with one down. So credit to Castanon, of course, he had a good year for the time being, but only played in 21 games. So unfortunately for him, cut short, but lucky enough for him, his Cape season not cut short after that first at bat yesterday. Collette's still the runner at first. Carlson holding him on pretty tightly. Both teams put a 0 up on the board in the first, but Brewster quickly threatening again here in the second after the leadoff single from the Kentucky Wildcat Collette. Thorson rocks and deals, breaking ball just away, and the count fills up.
Well, Lyle, you mentioned Castanon has had a couple of seasons at UCSB cut short, and there is a light at the end of every tunnel, and perhaps the Cape League is Castanon's light at the end of the tunnel, looking to shine brightly here in front of the scouts.
And sometimes, just as much as success, these guys use it as durability builders. I mean, he's not the only one that missed time this year with an injury. It's happened to a lot of guys as Thorson deals the full count offering. It misses just away. So that's a one-out walk for Castanon, now his fourth walk of the season, as Collette moves down to second, and the Whitecaps have 2 on and 1 away. First walk issued of the day for Thorson as well, and he'll now face the catcher Justin Vogt out of Maryland. When we talk about the injuries, it happened to Castanon, and in fact, it happened to Sam Thorson. He missed most of the month of May with an injury. Credit to him, he came back for his final start. That was on May the 23rd against Indiana. But that was just one outing. Almost a month's time since he's seen game action. Or at least dating back to that first outing against the Katuitt Kettleers, but almost a month since he's seen a start as he blows a fastball by the hitter Vogt, who swings and misses. So more like 3 weeks since he'd been on a mound in game, but almost a month since he's seen a start. No hold from any of the infielders, both Brewster runners getting their respective leads. Thorson ready. Fastball misses up high. The hitter Vogt flips the bat at the mound once. On the season, he's 1 for 5 with a walk of his own. As Sam peeks it, the runner over at second, that's Collette. Not a whole lot of speed in his game, but he fires home, and Vogt pops it foul out of play right side. So Hyannis robbed of any runs of their own in the bottom of the first, and in fact, kind of a funny line when you look at it for the first inning for the Harbor Hawks. It was no runs, no hits, no errors, and 3 left on base, as they were given 3 2-out free passes. But Gage Workman robbing Brooks Carlson of what would have been a 2 RBI single. Now the offering from Thorson, it's a fastball away. So Vogt out of the box. He wants to reset it for a minute. Puts the right hand to the top of his helmet, and now he's ready to go. Pretty short stance, feet a little under shoulder width apart. As the lengthy Thorson has the glove right at the belt, and now he fires home. Fastball that runs outside. So a full count, Thorson already issued a walk a batter ago to Castanon. And he looks to avoid doing so here to what would potentially be the second hitter in a row, being Vogt. The outfield playing pretty deep on the catcher. Both Hover in left, McIntyre in center, pretty far out there. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Thorson blows some heat by the hitter, Vogt, and that's 2 down in the top of the second.
That's a big fastball going by the knees of Vogt that time as he takes a stroll back to the dugout. Thorson with a great answer. He's run a couple of counts full in this ball game and 2 strikeouts in the inning to bounce back from the free pass.
So now the big man Eric Fago digs into the right side. He's the designated hitter for Jamie Shevchik's squad. He saw an at-bat yesterday in Game 2. He flew out to center in it, but now getting the start this evening. Thorson's curveball misses just down. So you see this inning, 2 strikeouts and a walk for Thorson. And that's his walk strikeout line for the game right now as well. And, well, that's pretty much who he is. He's a high strikeout pitcher who's looking to tighten up the command of his pitches a little bit. The 1-0, breaking ball tightly spun and on the outside corner. He had 43 walks in 46 and a third innings at Minnesota this year. But the strikeout total hailing just under 70 shows that there's no doubt he has the ability to miss bats. He gives a long look at the runners. Now he'll come home. Another breaking ball. Gazzo spoils it away. Or rather, Fago, that is. Once again, Eric Fago out of Stetson University. He hit .275 in his 2019 campaign. He got the start 47 times, appeared 55 times, and had 32 RBIs to complement 6 long balls. Thorson's just 1 strike away. Still 0-0 in the second, 2 on. Now the stretch and the 1-2 offering to Fago. Swing and a pop-up, lofting down the right field line. In comes Rigsby Mosley, charging, and he makes the catch on the run. So a clean second inning for Sam Thorson as a 0 goes up on the board for the Whitecaps. 2 reach in the top of the second, but nothing further. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on. We'll go to the bottom of the second when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. As we bring you back for the bottom of the second here at McKeon Park, the score hails at 0 between the Whitecaps and the Harbor Hawks through a frame and a half. And with that, we welcome the debut of Anthony Servideo in a Harbor Hawk uniform. The Ole Miss Rebel digs in from the left side as Tringali, the right-hander out of South Carolina, is set to go. First offering, and it's a called strike right on the outside corner. So Servideo comes off a really strong 2019 campaign where he sported a .286 clip, 14 extra base hits, and now the offering. Swinging a ground ball left side, moving to his left, the third baseman Castanon spins, throws the first in time. Servideo sat down on the second pitch of his at-bat, and that'll bring up Rigsby Mosley for his first at-bat of the night.
Well, Castanon showing his versatility this time. We saw him at shortstop yesterday and then moved to second base for game 2 of the doubleheader. Now being featured at third base this evening, making a fine spinning play and a throw off his back leg over to Collette at first to get Servideo.
So here comes Rigsby. He taps the bat up and down on his left shoulder. First pitch on a fastball from Tringali, outside corner, strike 1. You just talked about it, Brendan, the versatility. In 3 games, Castanon's now played 3 different positions for this Brewster ball club. The stretch and the fire. Fastball on the outside corner again, 0-2. But game 1, Castanon played shortstop. Game 2, he was at second. Now tonight, he's over at third as he made the nice play to retire the hitter, Anthony Servideo. Mosley spoils one foul up in the air and out of play left side. So Castanon already showing why he can be a valuable piece of this Whitecaps ball club. Of course, he has the ability to hit for the high average. He gets on base at a high rate. But he can play multiple positions in the infield as Tringali calls time. And Workman, the shortstop, more of the same. Gage Workman, a shortstop by trade in high school, but has spent almost all of his time at third base with the Arizona State Sun Devils. And the 0-2 misses up high and away. So 1-2 to the Troy outfielder Rigsby Mosley. But Workman, who stands at short tonight, played third base in game 1, played shortstop in game 2 yesterday, and now shortstop again this evening. So a lot of Whitecaps who can be moved around like chess pieces for head coach Jamie Shevchik. And the pitch to Rigsby Mosley popped in the air, hooking down the left field line. In comes the left fielder. That's Auerbach, who makes the catch, hugging the chalk, and there's 2 down. So Mosley just gets a little bit under that one. It sent Auerbach, the Alabama Crimson Tide, way over to his right. Had to come crashing pretty hard, but finally eased off the brakes a little bit as he came toward the line and put it away for the second out. So now that brings up the number 9 hitter, Chad McDaniel, a switch-hitting catcher who stands from the left side as he watches a fastball high. So Gage Workman, who's also a switch hitter for both Brewster and Arizona State. Not the only one in action tonight, as McDaniel can hit from both sides of the plate. As he swings away and sends a line drive out to deep left field, backtracking Auerbach, he makes the catch over the shoulder and on the run, onto the gravel warning track. A 1-2-3 inning for the right-hander Tringali. He's set down the last 4 batters he's faced, and the Harbor Hawks have a 0 up on the board in the bottom of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. 0-0 through 2 innings of play, and we'll go to the top of the third when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
To the top of the third inning we go here from McKeon Park with the Brewster Whitecaps coming to the plate in a scoreless contest. It's 9-1-2 due up for the Whitecaps, starting with Damon Dews, and then the lineup card will flip over to the top for Colin Davis and the left fielder Brett Auerbach, who made back-to-back consecutive plays to end the Harbor Hawks half of the second, set to follow the second baseman from Wright State, who digs in and spins the bat a couple times from the left-handed batter's box against the right-handed Thorson. Winds and fires a first pitch fastball starting off the inning high and wide, 1-0. So we saw Damon Dews yesterday in a pinch hit appearance in Game 2. Went 1 for 1. Blooped in a single as he awaits the 1-0 pitch on the way from Thorson. Another fastball, that one belt high and center cut for a strike to even the count. So Thorson set to go out of the windup. Black glove rests in front of his face, shakes off a couple signs from his catcher McDaniel, and he's ready for the 1-1 offering. Another fastball tried to paint the outside. Black could not, and the count moves to 2-1 against Damon Dews. Well, this game originally was supposed to be played on the second day of the 2019 summer. Canceled once, canceled twice a couple days later, and now finally being made up as the 2-1. Another fastball, 4 straight to start the at-bat, is in for a strike on the outside corner. 2-2 now to Dews. Scoreless game as we've been cruising right along as we approach the 7 o'clock hour here on Cape Cod. The right-hander's ready, a 2-2. Downstairs runs the count full. So this Whitecap lineup that had been so potent yesterday, just 2 hits to speak of thus far, as just 3 base runners have been able to find themselves on the base path as a payoff breaking ball misses high at the letters. Dews backing out of the way for a moment, and he'll head down to first as he tosses the bat off to his right. Second walk of Thorson's outing surrendered. Had one back in the second inning, and that'll bring up Colin Davis, the Wofford center fielder.
Yeah, and like you just said, that's Thorson's second walk, but for the most part, he's been right around the zone today. He's missed just wide with a couple of pitches, just high with a couple of pitches. So it's just about a little bit crisper command. But for Sam, it's not like he's been all over the place, just missing his spots by a tad.
So Thorson, the right-hander, forced to go from the stretch now, is dancing on a spin back to first base. A tag applied by Carlson on the pickoff attempt, and back in safely is Dews. When we mentioned Davis a lot yesterday, 3 for 5 in a doubleheader performance. Already 1 for 1 this evening. Had a double to lead off the ball game, but was thrown out at second base as part of a 7-4 double play off the bat of Tyler Gentry. So Thorson a pause, now kicks and delivers the first pitch. A fastball taken up high. Backing up a bit was Davis, 1-0. A picture-perfect evening to play some baseball here at McKeon Park. The sun is out and shining, although now retreating behind some clouds as we approach nightfall. Some scattered clouds throughout the sky that engulfs the outfield. That's a spin and another throw back to first. Dews back in standing this time as he applies the left foot to the bat. Pretty modest crowd on hand tonight as well. Some fans moving about the confines of the ballpark. And Davis taps the plate a couple times as he stands in now with a count of 1-0 against the right-hander from Minnesota. Dews dancing over at first again. A pause from Thorson. Now another check over, the third straight, as back in standing again is the Wright State second baseman Dews. On the flip side of the pitching matchup, Cam Tringali from South Carolina, the Gamecock, has been just as if not maybe more dominant than Thorson, as the Harbor Hawks are still in search of their first hit of the ball game as the 1-0 is on the way. A high pitch goes all the way straight to the backstop as scoring around a bunt was Davis. Advancing 90 feet up to second is Damon Dews. So the third runner of the evening in scoring position for the Whitecaps as the count moves now to 2-0 on Davis.
Yeah, and that was just a little bit of a high release point from Thorson as went way over the catcher McDaniel's head, hit the bottom of the netting, but looks to just kind of flush that one and dig his way right back into the at-bat.
Have to believe that one slipped off the hand just a little bit. Dews really making Thorson pay some attention to him as a fastball runs inside 3-0. So Davis looking to draw the second walk here of the third inning to start things off. As the Whitecaps trying to strike first on the road here in Hyannis. Thorson taps the mound a couple times with that front foot as the runner starts and stops at second, and a fastball picks up the outside corner, make it 3-1. So Dews doing his best to get in the head of Thorson on the mound. And the right-hander from Minnesota trying to work his way back into account here with the leadoff man, Davis. Couple of checks, spin and a throw back as the shortstop Lofton came across to get it. It trickles away for a moment as Servideo knocked it down as it trickled onto the grass in short right field. And the ball will once again be returned to Thorson as Dews is back standing on the bat.
And Thorson's got a quick pickoff move. He's tried it a couple times to first. A very, very quick spin and throw to second as he put it just a little bit wide, but nice job by Lofton to knock it down and prevent it from trickling into center.
So still a good hitter's count here for the hitter Davis at the plate as he waves the bat over his right shoulder and takes the fastball high. He'll head down to first with a free pass. Back-to-back given up to start off the third inning by Thorson on the mound. And now that'll bring up Brett Auerbach with a couple men on.
I mean, all this guy does, Colin Davis, is reach base against Hyannis. And this is a guy who came into tonight hitting .500. With that walk, he's now reached base 9 times against Hyannis over the last 3 games. He's walked 5 times in the last 3 games. So talk about a tough out at the top of the lineup.
And there's no hiding from him. He's the leadoff man in the lineup. No avoiding him as Brett Auerbach, the Alabama left fielder, steps in. He's had himself quite a nice day defensively so far, trying to return the favor on the offensive end as he squared to bunt and pulled back a called strike at the knees.
And a couple of the Brewster coaches, as well as Auerbach, not too happy about it, as there was no doubt that ball from Thorson was in the dirt, but home plate umpire Tom Carey saying that Brett didn't pull the bat back in time. And he turned to him, pointing his right hand down the first base line, asking for an appeal, but he doesn't get one.
So Auerbach will reset, waves the bat in front of the plate a couple times. And the 0-1 from Thorson on the way. Scoring to bunt again, down into the dirt. McDaniel scampering to his right to knock it down. No question he pulled back in time as the pitch was well wide. And the count is even, a ball and a strike.
I can't be surprised that they're opting to try and bunt here with nobody out, 2 men on. This is about as obvious as of an opportunity as it can get for a team to lay down a bunt, as it puts 2 in scoring position with less than 2 out. So DeSantelo's in now to try to prevent it, but we'll see what Auerbach opts to do.
And Brooks Carlson on the other side of the diamond creeping in from first as it's popped up down the third baseline, and it will roll foul as DeSantelo came charging in to get it. He'll hand that baseball back to Tom Carey as Thorson receives a new one and will walk back to the rubber. Rubbing some dirt on that pitching hand. Both runners slowly retreating back to their respective bags. So the count 1-2 as Auerbach will likely be swinging away with 2 strikes.
And you could see how edgy or kind of antsy he was to drop down that bunt, as it was a high fastball from Thorson, probably above the letters, but he still tried to push it down the third base line. As a result, it just went a little bit foul.
So the right-hander ready. Couple looks back at Dews, who's dancing out at second base now. A kick and a spin back toward him as he scampers back to the base. Dews has really been a pest on the base path since he's reached to lead off this inning. Thorson had 3 pickoff attempts over at first when he resided there, and now at second base has faked a couple of throws as making his way down the baseline again as the 1-2 misses high. And the count is now even to Auerbach. Well, Lyle, you mentioned it earlier on in the game. Auerbach, we saw him in game 2 yesterday in a 2-for-2 performance, also picking up a couple RBIs. Trying to do the same here with Dews in scoring position out there at second base, 180 feet away from giving the Whitecaps a lead. Thorson rests the glove down against that left leg now as he'll take the back foot off the rubber and reset. Much more deliberate pace with base runners on than the opposite. The 2-2. Breaking pitch swatted away off into the netting just to the left of the Whitecaps dugout. One of the ball boys will go retrieve that and bring it behind the netting. Auerbach adjusting the batting gloves and re-stepping in. Right-hander gets a set of signs. He's ready. The next 2-2. Swung on again, lofted down the right field line, but twisting high and foul out of play off into the woods beyond the Whitecap bullpen. So a lengthy at bat being put up here by Auerbach. A good fight against the right-hander from Minnesota, Thorson. Just a couple of Whitecap hits to speak of thus far. The double from Davis that we mentioned a bit earlier, and TJ Collette laced a single to start things off in the second inning. And now 2 runners aboard by way of the walk here in the third. Thorson again stepping off and giving Dews a stare. Really concerned with that Wright State second baseman Dews out there at third. Or second base, excuse me, trying to keep him from advancing over to third. And the next 2-strike offer. Swing and a miss at a high fastball. McDaniel set up, shot high, and Auerbach fans through it for the first out of the inning.
Nice job by Thorson. He just climbs the ladder on him there, puts a fastball up high. That's always enticing to a hitter. As a result, Auerbach chases after it. And Thorson's got his first out of the inning, and a much-needed one, too, with 2 runners on and nobody down previously.
So another member of the Crimson Tide set to go from the right side. This is Tyler Gentry, the right fielder. Back-to-back men from Alabama in the lineup tonight for Brewster as Thorson spins and turns and looks back at Dews as he retreats to second base. Not much of a breeze here to speak of at McKeon tonight as the American flag rests high atop the flagpole in right center. So Gentry awaiting the first pitch, and here it comes from Thorson. Both runners go as it's popped up in the air to right field. Moving under it now is Mosley as he comes in a few steps to make the play, an easy grab, and there's 2 down.
Well, those runners took off way early. Both Dews from second and Davis from first. Looked like they took off almost before Thorson started his motion. So you wonder, the hit and run had to have been in store there. As a result, the hitter Gentry just couldn't quite execute it. But it would have been an easy pair of stolen bags for both runners. As a result, a big help for Thorson as he's got 2 down on a piece of soft contact there.
So both runners were trying to take advantage of Thorson, who doesn't have a slow windup as the first pitch fastball is in on the outside corner to the new hitter, the Kentucky Wildcat, TJ Collette. His motion to the plate a bit more relaxed than some of the right-handers in the Harbor Hawk Road pitching staff. Making his first start of the 2019 summer. We saw him once against Katuitt out of the bullpen. And time is called by home plate umpire Tom Carey as Collette will take a step out. Now Thorson last summer making the jump that most players dream of and on their path to the big leagues. Played for the Waterloo Bucks in the Northwoods League back in 2018 as he fires in a fastball low 1-1. Went 2-2 up there in the Northwoods League with a 5.20 ERA. So the right-hander set at the belt. Couple of peeks back at Dews at second base. Now turns and fires to the plate. 1-1, a fastball sent high in the air down the left field line, but well foul. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now the count to the Kentucky first baseman.
Yeah, it's just kind of like we were talking about, Brendan, with Collette earlier. He had that 3-run blast in game 1 yesterday out to left center, but he really just got power to all field. I mean, he's shown the opposite field strength. We know he can hit it down the line, but just some impressive power in the middle of this Brewster lineup for Collette.
And already a single tonight, dealing with a 1-2 count as the breaking ball is dropped in at the belt for strike 3. Thorson fired up about that, gives a quick fist pump as he trots off the mound back toward the Hyannis dugout on the third base line. The game still remains scoreless as the right-hander is able to escape the miniature jam posed by the Brewster Whitecaps. The Harbor Hawks bats trying to get going when we come back in the bottom of the third on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at McKeon Park for the bottom of the third inning. It's the top of the Harbor Hawks order, starting with Mitch McIntyre, the center fielder tonight from BYU. McIntyre's been on a platoon with Bryce Teodosio, the center fielder out of Clemson. McIntyre seeing some time at the top of the lineup tonight, already 0 for 1 against the right-hander Tringali. Sent a shallow pop-up to the shortstop Workman as a breaking ball misses to start off the frame, down and away. So Tringali working directly from the stretch, fires in a 1-0 fastball that's sent in the air to left center. Sending back Auerbach and Dews, and looking up, and Dews will make the catch as he crashes into the wall, bracing himself for impact that time as McIntyre set down for out number 1.
Well, he gave that one a ride well into the gap, just at about the warning track, but maybe just a little too much under it, as it was just flagged down right on the gravel.
For my apologies, that was Colin Davis, not Damon Dews. Dews is at second base tonight. Davis manning the middle of the outfield tonight, is digging in is Nick Lofton, the Baylor shortstop, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. As this one has popped up on the infield, ranging in, this is Damon Dews. He'll make the play for out number 2. So a quick 1 pitch, 1 out, and Lofton is set down quickly. So here comes the Arizona State Sun Devil, Trevor Hauver. Making his way to the left-handed batter's box for his second plate appearance of the evening. Walked and was stranded at third as part of a bases-loaded jam for Tringali that he was able to escape back in the first inning. Hauver trying to build off a 3 for 7 performance yesterday in the doubleheader against these Whitecaps. As he watches a first pitch breaking ball right down Main Street for a strike, 0-1. A 3-hit day in Game 2 yesterday, 0 for 3 in Game 1, but did have a couple of runs scored, 1 in each game respectively. The 0-1, fastball in there, strike 2, and Hauver quickly finds himself in a hole. He takes a quick step out to regroup, half a practice cut, and now he's back in. Waiting on deck is the Memphis DH Hunter Goodman, should we get to him. Tringali, the 0-2, breaking ball just misses off the outer edge. Well, the pitching staff holding suit so far for the Harbor Hawks tonight. The offense trying to get going here in the third inning. No runs to speak of for either side just yet. A 1-2 into the dirt as it skips away between the legs of Vogt.
Yeah, yet to pick up their first hit either, but good man at the plate to do so in Trevor. He said 0 for 3 in this game, but it's like we talked about both yesterday and briefly glazed on a minute ago today. For a minute today, we should say. He sprayed a couple balls in Game 1, but was robbed by Gentry a couple times. So hitting the ball hard yesterday.
Ready for a 2-2 offering. In there, strike 3, a breaking ball at the letters as Hauver backpedals out of the box, and a quick stare as Tom Carey walks by him down the third base line. So 1, 2, 3, go the Harbor Hawks. Hauver doesn't like it. He's still hot about it going back to the dugout, but the Harbor Hawks will be taking the field when we come back on the other side of the break for the top of the fourth. 0-0 from McKeon Park on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We go to the top of the fourth here from a sunny McKeon Park, and it's been both pitchers shining ever so brightly thus far as Sam Thorson takes the bump again for the Harbor Hawks. Back for his fourth inning of work tonight. Gage Workman, Marcus Castanon, and Justin Vogt due up in this frame for the Whitecaps. Right-hander ready, pumps in a fastball that's sent in the air on the left side of the field. Racing over toward it is Lofton. He will make the play, coming toward the chalk in left to make the out. And Workman is set down.
And just got under a first pitch pop-up. And like that, Thorson continuing to cruise. He's retired his last 4 batters, 2 via the strikeout back in the top of the 3rd. But starting to find a groove a bit here as the game progresses.
So here comes Castanon, who's been a bit of a thorn in the side of the Harbor Hawks thus far. He's only played a couple games of this season, both of them coming against Hyannis. This is his 3rd. First pitch, a fastball on the outside corner. Walked in his first plate appearance this evening back in the 2nd inning. They're getting his second cuts against Thorson as the right-hander winds and fires the 0-1. A fastball again, Hyde evens up the count of ball into strike. So Thorson trying to make quick work of the Whitecaps yet again with already 1 down. The 1-1 misses outside with another fastball, 2-1. And we know Thorson can throw scoreless innings, had a string of 8 scoreless over 3 appearances from March 26 to April 6 in his school season. Another fastball, that one paints the outside black. 2-2 now to Castanon. Going back a couple of years to his high school days, pitched 2 seasons of varsity baseball for Minnetonka High. So he's always been able to pitch at a very high level, making his way now to the Cape Cod League in 2019. Working with a 2-2 count against Castanon. Here's the pitch. Just misses the outside corner, trying to pick his spot. McDaniel was set up down and away, just barely missing, and it runs the count full. So no runs on 2 hits so far for Brewster as their offense working with 1 down here on the top of the 4th. As the payoff pitch is in from Thorson, and that one is sent foul on a line over toward the Brewster dugout.
Well, that certainly sent Justin Vogt, the man on deck, a wake-up call. See standing over by the netting and the Brewster dugout, but that line drive foul from Castanon had to send him ducking out of the way.
So Castanon spins the bat a couple times, regrouping for the next payoff pitch. It's a breaking ball that just misses inside. So taking off the leg guard is Castanon, trotting down to first base, and another free pass for the Whitecaps.
And tough there for Thorson. He kind of leaned his head back, hoping he could get the call, and looked like a fairly similar spot to the one that Haber got rung up on, but as a result, no call from the home plate umpire, Tom Carey. And now for Thorson, a man aboard here in the top of the 4th.
So here is the number 7 man in the order, Justin Vogt, the catcher from Maryland. Batting with 1 on and 1 away in the Brewster half of the 4th inning against Thorson, who works from the stretch and blows a fastball by him on the first pitch of the at-bat for strike 1. Vogt, not too much of a factor yesterday in the doubleheader, although he was 1 for 3 in game 1 and did come across to score one of the 23 combined runs between the 2 games for the Whitecaps. Thorson a pause, now delivers the 0-1. Another fastball that misses off the outer edge. Right-hander developing a nice tempo to him tonight. Not really many blips on the radar to speak of other than the 3-4 walks he's surrendered. Trying to rein in the control a bit. Here comes the 1-1. Fastball cut and a miss again. Vogt over the top of it. Foul tipped into the glove of McDaniel. So the count now rests at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 3 strikeouts so far on the night for Thorson as well. He'd love to add 1 to that tally. Ready for the 1-2. The pitch, cut and a miss. Another fastball back-to-back to strike out Vogt as he goes down for the second out here in the 4th.
Yet again, just sends Vogt swinging. Blew a fastball by him back in the 2nd inning in his first at-bat, and right there just comes up empty swinging again. So Thorson, even after that walk to Castanon, really starting to settle in here like we talked about. Hasn't given up a lot of hard contact as he throws over to first. And he's remained pretty economical since that leadoff double to Colin Davis in the first.
So staring down Thorson in the batter's box now is the big man Eric Fago. And for his second plate appearance against the right-hander, as he sends a breaking ball in the air to deep right field, sending Mosley back toward the wall, looking up, and that ball is gone. Eric Fago puts the Brewster Whitecaps on the board, and it's a 2-0 lead. He sent the fastball on an inside-out swing well over the wall by the brand-new scoreboard in right. And the Whitecaps, just like that, find themselves with a lead.
Well, it's like we talked about with TJ Collette, Brendan. This Brewster team just seems to have some mighty strong opposite field power. The Collette home run on Sunday. Now the big man Fago, who hits from the right side, just crushes one out to right center today.
So here's Damon Dews stepping in. First pitch from Thorson, a fastball that misses up and away. So Fago sent a towering shot over the Curry College sign in right center. Give the Whitecaps a 2-0 lead as this one is laced fouled off to the right. A ball and a strike now on Dews. Walked back in the third inning, was a real pest on the base paths, really forcing Thorson to keep him in mind. Right-hander's ready, a 1-1. Fastball foul tipped into the glove of McDaniel. And another 1-2 count. So 2 runs on 3 hits, courtesy of the home run we just saw. Eric Fago, the DH from Stetson. And Thorson trying to make sure that's all they get. The 1-2 misses up and away. So it's Deuces Wild, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And Damon Dews at the plate, sporting number 2. Awaits the pitch. Swing and a miss, a fastball on the outside corner. Dews comes up empty with it. Smacks the bat on his way back to the dugout. And another pair of strikeouts for Thorson in the frame. But the Whitecaps are able to strike for 2 on the home run from Eric Fago. Hyannis trying to bounce back when we return on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We welcome you back to McKeon Park for the bottom of the 4th, where the Harbor Hawks coming to the plate suddenly find themselves trailing 2-0, courtesy of a home run from DH Eric Fago out of Stetson. As Hunter Goodman, Hyannis' own DH tonight, out of Memphis, digging into the right-handed batter's box for his second plate appearance against the starter still on the mound for Brewster, Cam Tringali out of South Carolina. Slow breaking pitch down and away, called strike, 0-1. Goodman was plunked in his first at-bat back in the first inning. An inning that saw Hyannis send 6 men to the plate. So Tringali's ready with a 1-0 offering. Another breaking ball. Checked his swing, did Goodman. He went around, 0-2. So Goodman has been one of the brighter spots in this Hyannis order. A couple of home runs and just as many tries. 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed well over the top of it. Tringali fooled him there. 3 straight breaking balls to start off the inning, and Goodman has gone on strikes.
Yeah, and that's now 8 straight batters in a row retired by Tringali. So he's gotten into a groove after those 3 free passes he issued in the first. Right there, just turns one over to Goodman, who couldn't quite come up with it.
So that'll bring up the FAU product, Jared DeSantolo, with nobody on and one down. Hyannis trying to remain within striking distance, trailing 2-0 on the board, still in search of their first hit of the ball game. Tringali winds and fires. First pitch, DeSantolo goes after it and sends it in the air to left. Auerbach coasting under it and will make the catch on the back pedal, 2 down. So here comes Brooks Carlson, trying to prolong this inning for the Harbor Hawks and make sure they don't go down in order. It's been a quick couple of outs for Tringali, the right-hander on the mound. A strikeout disposing of Hunter Goodman, then got Jared DeSantolo to swing under one and loft it to left. A breaking ball dropped in at the belt to Carlson for strike one. Brooks on the night sent a screaming liner over toward Workman at short, and he made a spectacular grab to end the bases-loaded threat. The 0-1, tapper off to the left, foul toward the brick wall. So an 0-2 count on the Sanford first baseman, Carlson. Anthony Servideo hoping to get up to the plate for his second plate appearance in a Harbor Hawk uniform. Tringali's 0-2 offer. Fastball outside. Vogt had to reach across the plate to haul that one in. Tringali looking to hang another 0 on the board. He's got a 1-2 count against Brooks Carlson. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball sky high in the air on the infield. Vogt loses the mask. Coming in from third base is now Castanon. He'll make the catch as he flips it back toward the mound as he trots back to the dugout, and that's how the bottom of the fourth will conclude. So no runs, no hits, nobody left on. The Harbor Hawks go down 1-2-3. 2-0 on the scoreboard. The Whitecaps maintaining the lead as we head to the top of the fifth on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Top of the fifth set to get underway here from McKeon Park as Sam Thorison's back on the mound for inning number 5 of his evening. He's set to face the top of the Whitecaps lineup. Colin Davis, Brett Auerbach, and Tyler Gentry. As the sun continuing to set here on the Harbor, and Thorson gets his sign from McDaniel. He fires home, popped up on a bunt, up and out of play by Colin Davis. The count moves to 0-1. There's something you don't see often. Drop down to bunt, and not only do you pop it back, but you pop it back up over what's about a 20-foot high net. So Davis just couldn't quite get that one out in front. Now it's an 0-1 count. DeSantolo playing in on the infield grass. And Davis obviously with some speed. 0-1 from Thorson. This time he swings and cuts through it. So Davis has been a real Harbor Hawk killer over the last 3 days. 9 times reaching base, 5 hits. Today he's 1 for 1 with a double and a walk. He roped one on the ground past DeSantolo in the first. And now Thorson looks to set him down. Here comes the 0-2. Swing and a high fly ball out to shallow center field. McIntyre charging in, dives and makes the grab. Full out extension by Mitch McIntyre, charging in from deep center and takes the ball right off the carpet for the first out of the inning.
Well, we talk about Bryce Teodosio being a great defensive center fielder. McIntyre right there stealing the show. picking that one up basically off the ground as right before it hit the blade of grass just in front of him. Outstretched glove reels it in. And a great full extension dive.
So Thorson's already ready again. This pitch to Brett Auerbach. It's a fastball that misses just away. But finally, Colin Davis taken off the base pads by the Hyannis defense, and it comes in the limelight fashion of McIntyre. As Thorson misses away with another fastball, it's 2-0. So just a beautiful play by the BYU product playing out in center field today. As Thorson gets his sign, he fires home. This ball's popped up and out of play. But it's just kind of funny to think about. That's what it takes to retire the Wofford product, Colin Davis. I mean, it takes a ball that he didn't even hit too hard to begin with. Looked like he was going to get lucky and find some green on a Texas League single. But it took just an outstanding play from McIntyre to finally sit him down as Thorson misses high, and it's 3-1. So 2-0 the score here in the top of the fifth. Thorson cruising outside the 2-run home run he gave up. As Auerbach pops one straight into the air, left side foul ground. DeSantolo coming way into foul territory to his right, calls everybody off and makes the grab on the grass coming toward the Hyannis dugout.
That's a good play from DeSantolo right there to come over into foul ground just a little bit to the right of the Hyannis dugout that time and reel that one in. Sometimes it's tough to look up into the lights, although it's still early on in the evening, so perhaps the light's not too blinding just yet.
So here's Tyler Gentry out of Alabama. Takes a curveball for a strike. Gentry put together a pretty compelling season down in Tuscaloosa here as he swings away at the next pitch and dribbles one foul. But he played in 56 games. He started 55. 13 home runs to go along with a .310 average. And he slugged .552 as well. And all of his stats offensively led Alabama's ball club. Thorson's 0-2. It's down low with a breaking ball. So when you put up those kind of numbers in the SEC, that's going to open some eyes. And there's no doubt that people have had a close eye on Gentry here in his first week on the Cape. Came into the day just 4 for 22. Today 0 for 2, but the tools are all there. And that's to say the least. Flips the bat up and down on his shoulder. Now the pitch from Thorson. Ground ball to third. Diving stop on the backhand by DeSantolo. High throw across. Good stretch by Carlson. And that'll end the inning. So good play by Jared DeSantolo. Quick reflexes. Stops it on a one hop on the backhand. Throws across in time. And Brooks Carlson, who had to get up a little bit, makes the grab to complete the out on the other side. So no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on as Thorson retires the Whitecaps 1-2-3 in the top of the fifth. We'll go to the bottom half of the frame when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. As we bring you back inside McKeon Park for the bottom of the fifth, the Harbor Hawks send their bottom third of the lineup to the plate against South Carolina right-hander Cam Tringali, who's out for his fifth inning of work. The right-hander's been absolutely cruising since that first inning as he rocks and fires to Anthony Servideo. It's down low. He's now at 10 straight retired Harbor Hawks here in the bottom of the fifth frame. But Servideo looking to turn that around in a hurry in his second at bat in a Hyannis uniform. The offering, dribbler out toward the mound, fielded cleanly by Tringali, fires over to first in time. 1-3 put out to begin the bottom of the fifth, and Servideo quickly retired again.
Yeah, Tringali with a nice, easy induced ground ball off the bat of Servideo. Just got it off the end of the bat, nubbed it out to him, and an easy play to come off the mound and get the out.
So Servidio's only seen 4 pitches through his first 2 at-bats. He grounded out to third, now grounded out to the pitcher. And now that'll bring up Rigsby Mosley. Rigsby hitless so far today, but pops one foul out of play. He flew out to left in the first inning. Infield playing back, everybody straight up with nobody on. And Hyannis still in search of their first hit this evening. 0-1. Fastball just outside. Mosley got the start in both games yesterday. First, game 1 was a little bit more memorable. 2 for 3, a run scored and a fly out to center. Now the offering, that's down, and it's 2-1 to the Troy outfielder. Rigsby had singles in the 6th and 7th inning in game 1. That 7th inning, Hyannis rallied a little bit. It was highlighted, of course, by the Hunter Goodman 2-run bomb. But Mosley now looking to make an impact here and try to get Hyannis their first win as he shoots one over to short. Catch made on the line by Workman, taking a step to his left, and there's 2 down. So for the second time tonight, Workman takes away a hit from a Harbor Hawk hitter. Still none on the board for the Hyannis ball club. And now with 2 down, it brings up the number 9 hitter, Chad McDaniel.
Now, Mosley's been seeing the ball pretty well the last couple of at-bats. That one, he shoots one on a line to Workman at second base. As you mentioned, Lyle, the second time that Workman has robbed a Hyannis batter of a hit in this ball game. Still none to speak of out on the scoreboard.
Now it's Chad McDaniel, again from the left side. Takes the first pitch way low, backhanded by the catcher, Vogt. So 11 in a row now. Or rather 12 for the pitcher, Tringali. Dating all the way back to the bottom of the first. The last man to reach the Jared DeSantila walk. 1-0, McDaniel shoots one foul behind home plate. So Tringali's been absolutely cruising. He gave up only 2 hits in his first start, coming back against the Wareham Gatemen. But they put up a couple runs on him. So far, Hyannis nothing going. As McDaniel watches an off-speed pitch just outside. Chad was actually second on the team in stolen bases, despite playing the catcher position in 2019. He swiped 16 of them. And now the 2-1, it misses away. However, on the Cape, McDaniel's 0 for his first 8. So I'm sure he'd love to show some of that speed, but still in search of his first base hit. 3-1 the count. Likely looking for a fastball. Here it comes. Ground ball up the middle, and it gets through. McDaniel right on cue goes after a heater, takes it right back where it came from, and the Harbor Hawks are on their board with on the board with their first hit of the day.
Yeah, it took them 4 2/3 to get it, but it comes courtesy of Chad McDaniel. That time, sending one right back up where it came from, a grounder right up the middle, hops over the second base bag and into center field. You'll take him any way you can get him. That time, some nice contact from McDaniel and seeing the ball well.
So now he's aboard with 2 outs. McIntyre, the center fielder, set to come to the plate for the 3rd time. He's in the left side of the box as Tringali's set and throws home. Fly ball into shallow center field, coming to his left, or rather his right, Davis, and he makes the catch pretty easily to put it away. So a 2-out base hit for Chad McDaniel to get the Harbor Hawks on the board in the hit column. Doesn't go for much else. Still scoreless here through 5 innings of play for the Harbor Hawks, and the Whitecaps leading 2-0 from McKeon Park. We'll go to the 6th when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Whitecaps have a pretty good part of the order to try to add on to their lead here in the top of the sixth, as they have their middle part of the order. 4, 5, and 6, beginning with TJ Collette to face the right-hander Sam Thoresen, now out for inning number 6. As he winds and fires, Collette swings away, ground ball over to the first baseman Carlson. He fields it on a couple hops, takes it himself to the bag, and he beats Collette on the foot race. There's one down. So Sam Thoresen absolutely rolling. Gave up the 2-run blast to Eric Fago, but not much else. Just 3 hits allowed on the night. And with that recorded out, this is now the longest start any Harbor Hawks made up to this point in the season. Now switch hitting Gage Workman, still from the left side. Third time seeing Thoresen. As Sam gets the sign and fires, it's a breaking ball down. So Sam's retired 5 in a row. Workman today, 0 for 2. Struck out and popped out to short. Sam's ready and he fires home. Another breaking ball. This one misses just away. Good plane on it, but couldn't quite catch the strike zone. Sam gets the sign, now fires home the 2-0. Workman spoils it the other way, foul. And how about this for Sam Thoresen? In his career, he's never made it longer than 6 innings. He's had a couple of really nice 6-inning starts, most notably in a loss against Indiana earlier this season, as Workman fouls off another fastball to level the count. That start against Indiana consisted of 6 innings of 1-run ball, 4 walks, but 11 punch-outs. That's a career high. That was back on April the 27th. But 6 innings is what he's been capped at through his first 2 seasons of college ball. Now the 2-2 to Workman. Good breaking ball right at the bottom of the zone, strike 3. Boy, did he turn that one over. Thoresen records strikeout number 7 on the evening, and he's got 2 down in the top of the 6th. So Workman, who's now struck out twice today, has to make the slow walk back to the dugout. And it brings up Marcos Castanon with nobody out, 2 down. Thoresen continuing to work out of the windup. He rocks and fires. Ground ball on the ground to Lofton, who fields it out in front at short. Fires across in time. How about Sam Thoresen? 6 innings of 2-run balls so far here through McKeon Park, and he is absolutely cruising. Retires the side in order 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 6th. And now the Hyannis bats look to get going and pick up their pitcher. We'll be back for that on the other side of the break on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Two, three, four due up here for Hyannis in the bottom of the 6th as Nick Lofton digs into the right side of the box for plate appearance number 3. Cam Golly back on the mound. He's been cruising much like Sam Thoresen as Lofton swings away at the first pitch and bloops one into shallow center. Davis comes in and it drops in front. Leadoff base knock for Nick Lofton to begin the bottom of the 6th, and there's 1 on with nobody down. And just like that, there's the second Harbor Hawk hit of the night. It took him 4 2/3 innings before Chad McDaniel laced one up the middle for the first hit, and now Nick Lofton, a Texas League single into center, to put Hyannis out to a positive start in the bottom of the 6th inning. But just like that, it looks like the right-hander Cam Tringali's day is going to end right there. He had absolutely cruised through 5+ innings, but after the leadoff hit, head coach Jamie Shevchik has seen enough. He exits after 5 innings of scoreless ball, giving up just 2 hits on the afternoon. And Brewster's going to go to the bullpen. We'll have that for you on the other side of the break when we return on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. As the Brewster Whitecaps bring in their first bullpen arm of the night, the Harbor Hawks send the number 3 hitter Trevor Hauver to the plate with 1 on and nobody down. It'll be the left-hander Sean Fisher for the Whitecaps out of the University of Maryland. The left-hander out of Parsonsburg, Maryland himself, 6'0", 214 pounds. As he works from the stretch in the third base side of the rubber. Gives a hard stare down to Trevor Hauver, the Sun Devil, as Lofton idles off of first. He throws over quickly, Lofton back head first. Fisher threw in 25 different games in his sophomore year at Maryland. 6.90 ERA with a 2-1 record, although he did save 1 game. A lefty-lefty matchup at the plate. As he throws over to first again, back safely Nick Lofton. Now, Lofton's got some good speed on the base paths. He stole 6 bags in his season at Baylor. But more so than that, just has really good base running speed. Finally throws into Hauver. 3/4 arm slot, good for a strike on a fastball. Fisher had pretty good command in his time at Maryland. Despite the high ERA, he only walked 11 batters in 29 innings. He did strike out 20. Now the 0-1. Breaking ball, Hauver shoots it up the middle to his shortstop Workman. No catch, and now he's going to step on the bag, throw to first, and Hauver beats it out. So a little bit of a confusing play as Hauver punched it up the middle. Workman to his left thought he caught it on the fly, put the glove right to the dirt on the ground. But the field umpire Ryan DeMar said he trapped it, so as a result, he steps on second. Hauver's aboard at first, Lofton erased, and it's a 6 unassisted fielder's choice. So Hunter Goodman finds himself in pretty much a mirrored situation, the only difference 1 down. Now Hauver the runner at first. He's being held on by Collette. And the first pitch from Fisher, Goodman punches one the other way to right field, but right at Gentry, who moves a step to his right, makes the grab and quickly throws back into first. But Hauver retreats safely. Gentry's got a good arm out there. Already getting some hollers and Signs of encouragement from the Brewster dugout. But with 2 down, it'll bring up DeSantolo, another left-handed hitter, looking to do some damage as Hyannis still trails 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Lofton was responsible for that second hit before being retired on the fielder's choice. And Jared, who today is 0 for 1 with a fly out to left and a walk, looks to advance the inning as he shows to bunt, pulls back, but it's a called strike on the outside corner. And DeSantolo having a word or two with home plate umpire Tom Carey. So Fisher, a bit of a crafty lefty. He throws out of a little bit of an unorthodox arm slot. 3/4 for sure, but he hides that ball behind that back shoulder for a long period of time. Fires home again, runs a fastball way away past the glove of the catcher Vogt, and Hauver will move up to second on the wild pitch. Time's called as Fisher asks for a new baseball, but now DeSantolo has a runner in scoring position. And it's the first Harbor Hawks since the first inning to reach that spot. It was Hauver himself who got all the way to third in the first, but he was stranded there along with Goodman at second and DeSantolo, the batter up right now, at first. That was on a Brooks Carlson line drive right at the shortstop Workman, who had to move a couple steps to his right and just snagged it right out of thin air to keep the Harbor Hawks off the board. And as a result, they haven't put up any runs since. Or they just haven't put up any runs at all today. But DeSantolo looking to turn it around as he takes a strike on the outer half. But no base runners have reached scoring position since, up until just a minute ago. Jared with a 1-2 count. 2-0 Whitecaps in the bottom of the 6th. And now time will be called. Fisher had a really good season last summer in the NECBL, which is the New England Collegiate Baseball League. In fact, he was named to the All-Star game there. And now the first arm out of the bullpen tonight, looking to keep the Harbor Hawks off the scoreboard. He checks Hauver at second and deals home. Fastball just outside, and the count evens up. Hyannis themselves with a lefty warming in the bullpen, so Sam Thorison's night appears to be done as he walked down to the bullpen and received high fives all around from the Hyannis Harbor Hawks contingency in the third base dugout. 2-2 the count, 2 down, and to DeSantolo. Ground ball over the head of the pitcher Fisher. To his right is the second baseman Dews. He fields quickly, throws to first, and it's just in time to nab DeSantolo. So just like that, a runner left in scoring position for the Harbor Hawks, and the Whitecaps hold Hyannis scoreless through 6 innings of play. It's 2-0 Brewster, and we'll be back for the top of the 7th when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back at McKeon Park, just moments away from the start of the top of the 7th inning, as the Brewster Whitecaps still hold a 2-0 lead on the home team Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And with that, Chad Gassman opts to go to the bullpen as he brings in the left-hander Nick Mondak. And he's set to face the bottom third of the Whitecaps lineup: Justin Vogt, Eric Fago, and Damon Dews. So Thorson's night ends after 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, the 2 runs, both of them earned, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. As the lefty's on the bump from the third base side, he gazes over the glove out of the windup. Rocks and fires. First pitch crushed down the left field line, but hooking foul just out of play. So Mondak put one up in the zone, and Vogt turned on it just a little bit too much. 0-1 for Mondak, making his 3rd appearance of the summer. And now the pitch, fastball up high. Mondak appeared on opening night against the Chatham Anglers, where he threw an inning of scoreless ball. He got the team out of a bases-loaded jam that was much needed. And now here the 1-1, and it misses way inside. Vogt didn't move much, but it almost skinned his inner pant leg. And then he threw 2/3 of an inning against Falmouth back on June the 14th. He also didn't give up an earned run there. Now the 2-1. Fly ball out to deep right field. Rigsby Mosley going back, giving chase. Looks up at the wall, and it's gone. Solo blast for Justin Vogt in the top of the 7th. And the Whitecaps have their 2nd opposite field bomb of the day, their 2nd home run of the day, and they're up 3-0 here on the road.
Well, after almost giving up a run on the first pitch, Mondak threw here in his relief appearance tonight. Gives one up just a couple pitches later. This time, an opposite field shot once again for the Whitecaps. You mentioned it earlier on, Lyle. They're a great opposite field hitting team. And Vogt once again showing it right there with some power.
And now a man who already has an opposite field bomb himself, Justin Fago, or rather Eric Fago, who's swinging through the first pitch. Justin Vogt, the man who hit the home run to begin the top of the 7th. And 3 innings ago, it was Fago who put the Whitecaps on the board first. First time seeing Mondak, who deals the 0-1. He punches one foul out of play on the right side. That was Fago's first home run of the summer. In fact, that was only his 2nd hit of the summer. He came into this game hitting .071. He had just 1 RBI. But he turned on that Sam Thorson pitch and took it the other way. 1-1. High drive out to right center field. Back goes Mosley. He's got a beat on this one right at the track, and he puts it away with his back to the wall. So Fago gives one another ride the opposite way. This one a little bit more to the left and out toward the gap. But Mosley moving quickly to his right and back a healthy portion, put it away on the track for the first out.
Well, Mondak this time can breathe a sigh of relief, but not by much. As you mentioned, it sent Mosley way back to the track and a scare for a moment.
So now the number 9 hitter Damon Dews takes a first pitch fastball away. But much like Thorson's night ending, Cam Tringali's night has of course ended, but his line is closed. And the pitch to Dews is spoiled foul, left side out of play. Tringali, of course, left the game in the top of the 6th when Sean Fisher came in to relieve him and ultimately held the Harbor Hawks scoreless. But Tringali's night ends with 5+ innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Now the 1-1 to the hitter Dews, called strike on an inside fastball. So after Tringali was sent out for the 6th, he gave up the leadoff hit to Nick Lofton and was pulled right after that. 1-2 from Mondak, curveball away. But after the removal, as we talked about, Fisher got the final 3 outs of the inning, and all 3 outs for that matter, on a Trevor Harver fielder's choice, a Hunter Goodman line out to right, and a Jared DeSantolo ground out to second. Now the 2-2, punched on the ground just past the mound, charging in quickly the second baseman Servideo. He has to eat it. Beating it out for an infield single, Damon Dews, and the Whitecaps have 1 aboard with 1 out in the top of the 7th.
Well, you'll take him any way you can get him, and the Whitecaps take that one. As Lyle, you like to say, that's a line drive in the scorebook. So this time, Damon Dews showing some good hustle down the line. He already walked and showed his speed off earlier on in the ball game on the base paths. This time again, with just 1 out and nobody else on besides him.
That marks the 5th Whitecap hit of the night. The Harbor Hawks have just 2, and it flips the lineup over for Colin Davis. This is his first time seeing Mondak as the lefty comes set from the stretch and it fires home. Fastball down. But for Tringali, his line remained open when Fisher came into the game as he was responsible for Lofton at first. But with Fisher getting out of it cleanly, a 0 up on the board in the run column for the South Carolina right-hander. Dancing off of first, that's the runner Dews. Mondak staring him down, and finally he steps off. So 2 pretty good starts for Tringali to begin his Cape League summer. The 2 earned runs back on opening night against the Gatemen in 4 innings pitched. He had 6 strikeouts there, 3 tonight. But much more economical here at McKeon Park. Now the 1-0, it's a fastball on the outside corner. Colin Davis turns to plate umpire Tom Carey, asks that as far out as the strike zone goes, and Carey just gives him a friendly nod. But Davis has controlled the zone incredibly well against the Hyannis Ball Club. As we talked about, he's reached base 9 times over these 3 games. He was finally retired on a beautiful McIntyre diving grab, and now he watches a fastball run outside. But he's got 1 walk today. Davis had an additional walk and a stolen base in Game 2 of the doubleheader, and he had 3 walks in Game 1 of the doubleheader. So 5 total, and he's at a 2-1 count. As Mondak throws over to first, it looked like Dews was starting to step towards second, but he had to quickly turn it around. So Davis responsible for 1 of the 5 hits so far tonight. He was the first batter of the game as he ripped a double down the left field line. And now the 2-1 coming in. It's called strike on the outside corner. But Davis currently hitting .500 on the summer. Of course, a small sample size. But he's 5 for his first 10 at the plate to go along with a home run and 2 runs batted in. Mondak sets at the belt. He gives Dews a long look at first, and now he's going to step off and throw over again. So Damon Dews really giving him a bit of a headache on the mound as Mondak's come in relief. And just like how this Brewster lineup has some power and some opposite field power, they've also got a healthy dose of speed. Davis has a lot of it. He's the leadoff hitter and at the plate now. Dews as well, who stands at first. And the pitch, cut and a miss. Nick Mondak strikes out Colin Davis for the 2nd out of the inning and picks up his first strikeout here against the Whitecaps.
Yeah, Davis on his walk back to the dugout looking a bit flabbergasted there. Didn't expect that breaking ball in the inner half of the plate as Mondak snapped it off. It started wide, came back in, and Davis fanned right over the top.
So now it transfers things to Brett Auerbach. First pitch from Mondak. That's a fastball just missing out of the zone and high. But Dews continuing to dance around the bases over at first. And there's no question this kid has some speed. Mondak throws over again, just like that. Damon Dews started to step towards second, now back to first. But this past season, Brendan, at Wright State, Damon Dews swiped 28 bags for the Wright State Raiders. And along with that, he had the infield single earlier as the pitch to Auerbach is shot through the right side through the 3-4 gap for a base hit. Hitting the bag at second and stopping right there, Dews. The throw's cut off by the shortstop Lofton. And the Whitecaps have 2 on with 2 down in the top of the 7th frame.
Good piece of hitting there from Auerbach to send one on the ground just past the outstretched glove of Servideo, who was playing a bit shaded toward the second base bag.
So now it'll bring up Tyler Gentry out of the 3 spot in the lineup. And he finds himself with a critical RBI opportunity as the Whitecaps are up 3. They now have a chance to further extend this lead and maybe give them a little more cushion. Mondak stares him in, now gets the sign from the catcher McDaniel and comes set. He fires home. Gentry shows bunt, but he shoots it foul behind home plate. Getting back to Damon Dews for a minute, Brendan. He's 1 for 2 today with a walk and a stolen base. Today was the first time the Harbor Hawks have gotten a chance to see his speed, but plenty of it was put on display in his time at State. He had the 28 stolen bags, but he also walked 49 times compared to the 27 strikeouts. As Mondak checks the runner, that's Dews over there again, giving him trouble. Now he fires home. It's a fastball high and away. But to go along with that, that equated to an on-base percentage of .473 in his 2019 season. So this kid reached base at an absurd rate for the Raiders. And to add on to that, he reached base at a .462 rate in his freshman year. So this kid, an absolute on-base machine at the top of the lineup for Wright State. Mondak checks him over at second, now comes home. A swing and a miss from Gentry. But I think it's fair to understand why Mondak keeps giving him so much attention over there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no question that all those numbers you just listed off, it's no question that Dews has got a set of wheels on him out there standing at second base right now. And he's a real pain for some of these pitchers on the mound. We saw Thoreson paying a lot of attention to him earlier on.
Now the 1-2 offering. Gentry swings at a pitch above the letters and pops it foul.
And that's what he can do. You just saw him start and stop out there at second base, and that can throw off McDaniel behind the plate too. Thinking the runner's going for second, takes his eye off the pitch. It can result in a pass ball, can result in a wild pitch. Multiple different things that Dews brings on the base paths.
And clearly Dews knows what he's doing. He's swiped bags so many times as Mondak quickly stepped off the mound. He swiped bags so many times that he knows how to get in a pitcher's head, and he knows when his limits are exceeded. But he hasn't exceeded them yet as he continues to dance well off the bag. Now the pitch from Mondak, and it's fouled back by the hitter Gentry. So 2 very, very impressive seasons from Damon Dews at Wright State. He didn't play as much in 2018, to be fair. He only started in 10 games, 15 appearances, but still put up a .317 average in that time. But he really came into his own in his sophomore year, 2019. Again, that .473 on base, 28 stolen bags. 3-0 the score in favor of Brewster. Men at first and second, now the pitch. Swing and a high pop up right side. Carlson gives chase, but he runs out of room and it sails over by the street and the Old Colony Road area to the right of McKeon Park.
Lyle, just to continue on the topic of Dews for just a second, a lot of times they say the number 9 can serve as a secondary leadoff hitter, and that's almost what Dews serves as for the Whitecaps. With Davis at the top of the lineup, we know how much of a pain he can be.
Well, that's exactly what Dews has done as he gets his lead. Mondak fires home. Ground ball left side. Diving stop on the backhand by Lofton. Throws to second, and it's in time. Talk about a beautiful play by the Baylor Bear as Nick Lofton quickly moves to his right. A diving stop out in short left field. Rises to his feet and makes a strong snap throw over to the second baseman, Servideo. And that saves a run. So 3-0 Brewster here through the top of the 7th frame, but it could have been a little bit worse. Hyannis comes to bat in the bottom of the 7th, looking to get something going on offense. And we'll have that for you on the other side of the break on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome you back inside McKeon Park. This game has been cruising right along to the bottom of the 7th we go. It's 6, 7, 8 due up in the Hyannis order, starting with Brooks Carlson, followed by Anthony Servideo and Rigsby Mosley against the reliever Sean Fisher, back for his second inning of relief. Well, all things considered, Lyle, that play by Nick Lofton to end the last half inning was a spectacular play, sprawling on the dirt as the first pitch to Carlson is fired in, a fastball down and away for ball one. A tremendous play that saved a couple of runs, and all things considered, that inning could have been a lot worse. And as the score stands 3-0, still a lot of time for Hyannis to try and mount a comeback. As the 1-0 pitch picks up the bottom half of the zone, a called strike.
Yeah, but what a tremendous play, like you just talked about, Brendan. I mean, the Whitecaps sent a good, healthy amount of batters to the plate in that inning, 6 to be exact, but he kept further ones off the board.
1-1 pitch on the ground toward first base. Collette fields it on a hop and will tag the bag himself to retire Carlson, who's now 0 for 3.
Yeah, well, Brooks just kind of shoots one on the ground to the right side. Collette didn't have to move too much as he fielded it cleanly and took it himself to the bag. Yeah, let's get back to Lofton for a second because McIntyre already had a phenomenal diving catch. He took Colin Davis off the bases, who has just been a Harbor Hawk killer over the last 3 days. But Nick Lofton kind of stares out at him and says, anything you can do, I can do better. So what does he do? A flat-out full extension into short left field and saves a couple of runs.
Well, here's the left-handed hitting Anthony Servideo, who just saw his 5th pitch of the game through 2 at-bats so far. Bounced one to third and nubbed one back to the mound in the 5th. 1-0 pitch from Fisher. Another bouncer over his glove towards short. Fielded off the turf by Workman. Fired to first in time to get Servideo. He heads down the right field line and turns back toward the dugout in a bit of frustration.
Well, a really close play, and Servideo already showing that he has some blazing speed down the line. Throw probably just got him by about a half step. A bang-bang play over at first, no doubt, but a nice job by the lengthy Gage Workman, who was playing pretty deep at short, to charge in quickly, field it on the infield grass, and then make a strong throw off his back foot.
So the second consecutive lefty in the inning, Rigsby Mosley steps in and watches a first pitch breaking ball down and away for strike 1. Mosley tonight has made some hard contact. He's flown out to left and lined one to shortstop. 0-1 cut and a miss, a fastball down and in, strike 2. So Fisher has handled his business very well out of the bullpen. Working now an inning and 2/3. As the 0-2 pitch, another fastball just misses, tried to paint the outside black and ring up Mosley, didn't get the spot, 1-2. There's now some pinkish purplish clouds engulfing the outfield just beyond the batter's eye. The 1-2 from Fisher fired in. A breaking ball popped up over by the Hyannis dugout, and it bounces right off the top. One of the finer settings you'll see here down in Cape Cod. Fisher's next 1-2 on the way. Fastball, that just misses, the count evens. A lot of renovations going into this field here at McKeon Park. Some new dugouts, as well as some new field surface as well, the 2-2. Grounder back up the middle towards second. Played on a backhand by Dews, ranging over toward the bag. Fires over to first in time to get Rigsby Mosley for out number 3. So a quick 3 up, 3 down once again for Hyannis in the bottom half of the 7th. We'll go to the 8th with the Brewster Whitecaps leading 3-0 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back to McKeon Park for the top of the 8th inning. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks find themselves trailing the Brewster Whitecaps 3-0 as we move along in this ball game. Just past the 8 o'clock hour on the elbow of Massachusetts. The middle of the order for the leading Whitecaps due up: TJ Collette, Gage Workman, and Marcus Castanon. Collette digs in. 1 for 3 on the evening, a single that came way back in the second inning as Nick Mondak fires in a breaking ball that misses low and away. The southpaw back for his second inning of relief, trying to limit the Brewster damage, whose offense has been so good against these Harbor Hawks this season. In the first 2 matchups yesterday, as a fastball is knocked down by McDaniel behind the plate, it missed wide, 2-0. So Collette had himself quite the day yesterday. As we mentioned a bit earlier on in the broadcast, a 3-for-7 performance, the 2-0. Slap the other way to left field. Ranging after it is Hauver, moving slightly toward the line. He'll make the grab for out number 1. Now they'll bring up the Arizona State Sun Devil shortstop, Gage Workman. And both shortstops in this game, Workman as well as Nick Lofton on the flip side for the Harbor Hawks. You can see strolling around the infield out there right now. They've both made fine plays to save a couple of runs in this ball game. As the first pitch from the southpaw is in for a strike on the outside corner. And you can make a case for either, for which one you would want to see on SportsCenter Top 10. They're both probably worthy. Nick Lofton's no doubt saved at least 1 run, if not more, the 0-1. That one cracked in the air to center. That's going to fall in front of McIntyre and in for a base hit. Putting on the brakes as he rounds first is Workman, so he's aboard. 1 on, 1 out now for Marcus Castanon. So as a third baseman who hails from California makes his way to the plate, he's drawn a couple walks this evening, as well as bounced one over to Lofton out there at short. Nick's been busy. As the middle infielder shaded toward the bag at second with the double play. Very much a possibility with 1 out here in the 8th. The pitch. Fastball low and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Castanon probably hoping for a pitch that he can drive. He's had to stay patient, drawing a couple walks. Swings the bat out toward the left-hander Mondak on the hill, who stares at first, now kicks and delivers. 1-0 pitch, checked his swing, but a called strike nonetheless on the outside corner to even the count. So Castanon 1 for 3 in the doubleheader yesterday, but that really doesn't do his performance much justice. Also drew a couple walks as well as racked up his first RBI of his Cape League summer as he watched another fastball off the outer edge, 2-1. Mondak, however, making his 3rd appearance so far for the Harbor Hawks. It's been one of the heavier relied on arms for Coach Chad Gassman out of the bullpen as he kicks and fires over to first. Just a courtesy check on the runner Workman. In his junior season at St. John's, went 2-3 record-wise, but walked 16 and struck out 34 in a 3.86 ERA. So a decent strikeout to walk ratio is a 2-1 pitch, a breaking ball that's dropped in, but just off the inside part of the plate as Castanon watched it go by, 3-1. So Marcus in line for his 3rd walk. And just 1 pitch away from doing so. As Workman gets a rather short lead over on the bag at first. Carlson holding him on. Mondak kicks and fires a 3-1. That's in there for a strike. Castanon took about a half step toward first and a hop step back toward the box as he realized that he's now dealing with a full count. Beautiful sunset starting to form here at McKeon Park. The fans taking it in. Mondak gets set for a payoff delivery to Castanon as the runner goes. Now he's caught in a rundown. Fires to Carlson at first to throw to second. Tag applied by Lofton, and it is in time. So Workman is gunned down as a good move over to first base from Mondak. Had him beat. All Carlson had to do was make a good throw down to Lofton, and he did the rest. So the runner is erased. Now a 3-2 count with 2 down. And Mondak just 1 pitch away from getting out of this. Once again, 3-0 the score, top of the 8th inning here from McKeon Park. The Whitecaps on top. The payoff pitch swung on and missed. Strike 3. Castanon goes down to end the frame. So Mondak helped out by a good move over to first base that erased Gage Workman from the base paths, and then fans Castanon to end the frame. 3-0 the score as we go to the bottom of the 8th. The Harbor Hawks running out of time, trying to make a comeback when we return on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back for the bottom of the 8th inning from McKeon Park. Chad McDaniels has made his way up to the batter's box as he takes a look down at head coach Chad Gassman. Getting his signs as home plate umpire Tom Carey brushing some dirt off the plate briefly before we begin play. 3-0. The Whitecaps are on top in this one if you're just joining us. It's been a pretty briskly played ball game. 3 runs on 6 hits for the visiting Whitecaps and no runs on just 2 hits to speak of for the Harbor Hawks as McDaniel watched the first pitch breaking ball from Sean Fisher back for his 3rd inning outside. So the 1-0 fired into McDaniel, swung on and fouled straight back off of one of the poles holding up the netting, protecting the press box as well as the fans that are sitting in the bleachers that extend beyond both dugouts. So the count 1-1 to Chad, who does have a base hit recorded in this game. It was the first for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks tonight. Breaking pitch again off the outer part of the plate, 2-1. Fisher winds and fires a 2-1 pitch. Slapped down the third baseline. It's dribbling over toward the Harbor Hawk dugout as the count evens at 2-2. Couple of defensive changes to report for you after the 2-1 offering here to McDaniel as it's on the ground and through the hole into left field past the diving glove of Workman for a base hit. So McDaniel putting together a nice 2-for-3 evening. He's aboard to start things here in the 8th. Getting to those defensive changes I just mentioned, Tyler Hardman has come in for Collette at first base. So with Mitch McIntyre walking to the plate, Chad McDaniel being held on by Hardman down there before this at bat. 1 on, nobody out. Bottom of the 8th, 3-0 our score. So Fisher kicking some dirt off the rubber. McIntyre stands in from the left side. Fisher, a deep breath, kicks and deals. First pitch to Mitch is in for a strike, a fastball in the inner half. McIntyre on the summer hitting at just a 190 clip, 4 for his first 21. A 1 pitch tap foul at the plate off the glove of Vogt behind the dish. So McIntyre quickly finds himself down 0-2 with a runner aboard in McDaniel over on the bag at first. McIntyre, however, does have a couple of RBIs, and he made an outstanding catch in center field earlier on in the ballgame tonight. So making up for the lack of offense in this game with the glove and trying to wipe away a couple tough at-bats as a number towards second base off the inside part of the bat. Tags McDaniel on the way by. Throw to first, not in time as McIntyre beats it out. So McDaniel is erased, and McIntyre trades places with them over at first. And that'll bring out the Baylor shortstop, Nick Lofton. Lofton, however, has had himself a game to remember. Made a couple of outstanding plays defensively at shortstop, a backhanded diving stop, as well as he launched a single in the 6th. At the time was the second Harbor Hawk hit of the evening as a check over on first. Back in with a dive is McIntyre. So the Harbor Hawks offense yet to break through. They've mustered up just 3 hits to this point. The lefty pitcher trying to subdue Hyannis, looking for their first win of the season as a fastball right down Broadway is in for a strike. Fisher, we talked about a little bit earlier on, an all-star in the NECBL last summer, has made the jump to the Cape League. Fires in an 0-1 pitch to Lofton. Chopper foul down the third baseline, a barehanded grab down there by Coach Chad Gassman. Well, Fisher certainly has a lot in his arsenal. Made 25 appearances in his sophomore season at Maryland. Working with an 0-2 count here against Lofton, the pitch. Swung on again, a dribbler down the third baseline on the infield grass, and nobody's going to have a play on it as Castanon comes in to retrieve it. But well down the line at first is Nick Lofton, moving up to second base. Mitch McIntyre on the play, and that'll bring up the Sun Devil Trevor Hauver. So almost a swinging bunt from Nick Lofton as he sent one down the third baseline. Castanon and Fisher both converged on it. Neither one had a play. Would have been tough for either to make an off-balance throw to first, and wisely to put it in the back pocket and avoid an error, as now time is called. And a conference is going to be held on the mound. That looks like it might be it, as there is action down in the Brewster bullpen as Fisher staring down his manager, making his walk to the mound, Jamie Sebchik. One down in the 8th. As McIntyre resides at second, Lofton resides at first. It looks like they will not take the ball away from Fisher as home plate umpire Tom Carey started to make his way out to the mound as the infield retreats back to their respective positions. Fisher is kicking some dirt around on the mound. Shook off a couple of words from his coach as he makes his way back to the dugout. So it will be the lefty Hauver against the lefty Fisher in a matchup here late in the ball game with 2 on and 1 out. Harbor Hawks with perhaps their best chance of the ball game, aside from the bases loaded situation they had a bit earlier on. First pitch from Fisher on the way. Fastball misses wide, 1-0. So a big chance for the Sun Devil to try and break through here. A 267 clip coming into action today. Hitting 4 for 15, came across to score 4 runs. The 1-0 from Fisher kicks and deals. Another fastball in there for a strike, this time on the outside. Hauver on the day yesterday, 3 for 4, but did not drive in a run. He's got McIntyre standing 180 feet away from cutting this deficit to 2. 1-1 offering, breaking ball way over the top of it as it missed down and away. But Hauver helping out Fisher on the mound with a swinging strike, 1-2. Memphis product Hunter Goodman looms on deck. He's been swinging a hot bat, no doubt. So a big spot here for Fisher if he can get Hauver. If he doesn't and Hauver finds a way to reach, it makes things a whole lot interesting with the red-hot Goodman on deck. After a pause, the 1-2. Outside with a breaking ball, evens up the count once again. Yesterday, the Harbor Hawk offense was able to put up 9 on the scoreboard between the 2 games combined against these Whitecaps. Tonight, however, the polar opposite. No runs on just 4 hits. But the pitching staff has held it together nicely and giving the Hyannis a chance on offense here, trailing 3-0. Harbor's 2-2. Outside misses and runs the count full. Hopper showing some nice patience, laying off a breaking ball and then a fastball, a tough take on the outside part. Now tension starts to build as Fisher takes a deep breath on the mound. Palming that baseball in his left hand. Glove tucked against his right leg. Now he comes set at the belt. A long pause to stare at McIntyre at second. Now a kick and a spin back toward him as he retreats to the bat. Some loose stretching going on down in the Whitecap bullpen. The same could be said for Hyannis down the left field line. So now Fisher appears ready. And the payoff to Hopper on the way. Swung on. A bouncer towards short. Fielded on a knee as Workman goes to short. Way to second for one. Back to first. In time, a double play. 6-4-3 courtesy of Workman starting it up. And the Whitecaps spin it to get out of a jam, once again silencing the Harbor Hawks. 3-0 the score, top of the ninth, coming up on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back with you on the Cape Cod Baseball Network as we move to the top of the ninth with the Brewster Whitecaps coming to the plate. A couple of changes on the defensive side of things for the Harbor Hawks coming into the frame. Mitch McIntyre has made his way from center field onto the bump for his second appearance of the season. Bryce Teodosio, meanwhile, coming off the pine tar and coming in to take McIntyre's place in center. As Justin Vogt is set to dig in against McIntyre. First pitch from the southpaw on the way. Fastball is in at the knees for a strike. McIntyre on the season has made one appearance. That came last Saturday against the Wareham Gatemen. Worked one inning. One scoreless inning, I should say, with a strikeout. A 1 breaking ball is dropped in again for a strike to Vogt, 0-2. So McIntyre, a two-way player. Pitched 18 scoreless innings this year in his college season at BYU as he gets Vogt to fan through an upstairs fastball and right off the bat, making his impact felt on the mound with a strikeout, 1 gone.
Yeah, and some people look at, Brendan, putting a position player in the pitch, maybe it's a sign of they're just kind of trying to save arms and hope for the best. But no, Mitch McIntyre is the real deal. Like you just said, 18 scoreless innings at BYU. He has the ability to get guys out. He's shown it already.
Now he'll be tasked with facing Eric Fago, the DH from Stetson, who's already launched a home run in this game. Other than that, a couple of flyouts to right field to deep right field to Rigsby Mosley. Dealing with a 1-0 count as a fastball missed up and in, brushing him off the plate. McIntyre already ready. Broken bat as it flails toward the backstop. Coming in to get it is DeSantelo. Quick picks it up, fires to first, and in time over to Brooks Carlson.
And Fago kind of looked back toward the backstop, wondering what in the world happened, or maybe wondering how much of his bat broke, but snapped basically completely in half, and DeSantelo, pretty easy play, just having to charge in a bit.
So the number 9-man Demon Dew set to dig in now with 2 outs. A quick 2 outs from Mitch McIntyre on the hill. Lefty-lefty matchup as he's ready. Kicks and fires a breaking ball. That's a strike on the outside corner. So McIntyre not messing around. Very economical coming in from center field. Not even the bullpen. Has already played a full 8 innings as he drops in another strike. A fastball painting the inside corner. 0-2. 1 strike away from working out of this top of the 9th extremely quickly. 0-2, winds and fires. Fastball, swing and a miss, strike 3. How about Mitch McIntyre? 2 strikeouts in the top of the 9th. As he walks off the mound with a boatload of confidence, as well he should. But the Harbor Hawks not out of the woods yet. They trail by 3, trying to make a comeback to tie or win it in the bottom of the 9th on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back to McKeon Park for the bottom of the 9th, and it has come down to this for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, still in search of their first win of the season. And in order to do it, they're going to have to go up against the new pitcher on the mound, the sidewinder who hails from Central Florida, William McKay. Making his 2nd appearance of his Cape League summer. He's gone 2 innings thus far, gave up 1 run. It wasn't earned. Walked 1, struck out 2, and as Bryce Teodosio steps in to lead off the inning with the Harbor Hawks down 3-0. First pitch sent in the air to center field. Davis back a couple steps, shielding the lights, and makes the catch at about sternum level. As Teodosio set down for out number 1. Here comes Jared DeSantelo.
And some quick work there by William McKay. First pitch fly out to Teodosio. Sean Fisher's day ends after 3 innings, giving up just 2 hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. So a pretty clean line for the Maryland left-hander. But now McKay looking to finish the job and pick up a save, because 3-0, he's in a save opportunity here. And he's already gotten off on the right foot.
In his 1 appearance, he was a pitcher of record. He got the win as his record moved to 1-0 on the year as DeSantelo waved and missed at a breaking ball down and in, 0-1 the count. DeSantelo tonight 0 for 2 with the walk that came way back in the 1st inning. The 0-1. Breaking ball sweeping back over the plate, but couldn't pick up the bottom of the zone as the count evens the ball on a strike. DeSantolo trying to get something going for the Harbor Hawks with a 1-1 count. The pitch, fastball sent up and over everything off to the left, out of play toward the parking lot. This game has moved very quickly, Lyle. It's just 2 hours and 36 minutes to this point. First pitch was at 6 on the dot.
That's what happens when you get a 3-0 game. Only 10 hits combined between the two teams compared to all the scattered base knocks across the board in the doubleheader yesterday. This game just cruising along, like you said, Brendan.
DeSantolo trying to fend off a strikeout, and he misses there with a fastball. Did the pitcher on the mound, McKay. Count evens at 2-2. DeSantolo kicking some dirt around before stepping back in. Brooks Carlson, the Sanford product, awaits on deck. The 2-2. Chopper toward first. Hardman over to get it. He'll take it to the bag himself, calling off the pitcher, McKay, who was running over to cover. And DeSantolo is gone 2 down now for Brooks Carlson.
And Jared just got that one off the handle a bit, pushing it toward the first baseman, Hardman, who, like you said, Brendan, came in as a defensive replacement. And a pretty easy play for him just to step on the pillow. And now Brooks Carlson, the man who was probably the closest to anybody to putting a couple of Harbor Hawk runs on the board today back in the first, stands as the final hope in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, the right-handed hitting Carlson, first baseman out of Sanford, is the last hope for Hyannis tonight. As the first pitch is fired in, missing on the inside part for ball 1. Well, there's no clock in baseball, and that's for good reason. We've seen crazier things happen. Hyannis trailing 3-0 with 2 down in the bottom of the ninth. Nobody aboard as Carlson stares down the pitcher. McKay sends one on the ground on a hop, fielded on the backhand by Workman. Fire across the diamond in time, and that's the ball game. The Brewster Whitecaps sweeping the 3-game set with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks over the course of Father's Day yesterday and now tonight by a final score of 3-0. 3 runs on 6 hits for Brewster as they hang on for the victory. No runs on 4 hits for Hyannis as they fall now to 0-6-1 on the season. Brewster over 500 for the first time in 2019. They improved to 4-3 as the handshake line forms behind the mound here at McKeon Park. Hyannis drops another one, Lyle. This one was just about the bats not getting going.
Yeah, and it's like we talked about after the doubleheader yesterday. We talked about this Harbor Hawks ball club needed some quality pitching, and they needed a good response from whoever the starter was to end up being today. Of course, it ended up being Thorson, and as a result, he was phenomenal. Outside of the 2-run blast given up to Fago, he was absolutely cruising in his start. I mean, we'll give you the line one more time. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, but 7 strikeouts. So for Thorson, he really gave his team a shot in the arm and pretty much everything the Whitecaps could handle today. But today was just more of a testament to the lack of hitting and more timely hitting for that matter, because the Harbor Hawks, once again, found themselves in a couple RBI opportunities. We saw it in the first, we saw it in the 8th, but just again, not quite capitalizing when they need to. And as a result, Brewster picks up the series win, and they sweep the series win with a 3-0 victory today over Hyannis. So for the Harbor Hawks, again, it's back to square one kind of, where they just kind of have to flush this one and focus on tomorrow. Now, we've said that a couple of times already this season, Brendan, and feels like a bunch over the last few days because they've struggled with this Whitecaps ball club. But a little less lopsided today than it was maybe either of the doubleheader matchups yesterday, because they were in the ball game and they hung around throughout this contest. They just couldn't quite get the bats going enough, and if they wake up tomorrow in Wareham, they could be in for a good one.
Absolutely, and we talked about the pitching matchup needing a big performance, and they got it. Mondak and McIntyre came in from the bullpen after the splendid start from Thorson, and they held down the fort nicely, but ultimately Hyannis falls 3-0 at the hands of the Brewster Whitecaps. They sweep the 3-game set between Sunday and Monday, and Hyannis falls to 0-6-1. They'll travel over the bridge tomorrow to take on the defending CCBL champion Wareham Gatemen. The Harbor Hawks will see them for the second time this season, trying to turn their fortunes tomorrow night. For Lyle Goldstein, I'm Brendan Howe. We'll see you tomorrow night from Wareham on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.